Okay. And we are live. Roy, how are you, sir?
About the same as the market, though unrelated. So, yeah, it's the nice thing about Tuesdays. It's incredibly busy. Usually good busyness today, not as much, but I don't have as much time to look in the market that day. So that's kind of a nice thing where I'm like, whoa, what happened here? We just fell off of a cliff. But we'll talk about that tonight. Tevis, how are you?
About as good as the market, and it is related to the market in my case.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's impressive. Like if we look at the fear and greed index, actually, I'm going to pull that up because
We
how
must be like
fast this
through
has
the
changed.
floor of that thing by now, right? We were already at like fear when we were reaching all-time highs.
Yeah, I know. Now today, well, I don't know that it feels like extreme fear, but it's extreme fear. This isn't based on feelings, by the way. If you guys aren't familiar with it, we won't go into it here. But there's 7 different indicators that they look at, and it's all, So some of them I may slightly disagree with, or I think they're maybe weighted too high. But it does a pretty good job of measuring sentiment out there. Of course, you could just go on X and see sentiment, or in the comments here as well. Kind of curious for our audience too. Like, how are you guys feeling and doing today? This is one of those days, by the way. And the market's actually been very much a roller coaster. It feels like April, which can make a lot of people nauseous, really since September. So it's one of those times where it's a good time to assess your risk tolerance. You can never figure out your risk tolerance when we're in extreme greed mode, because it always feels like, oh man, I'm good with infinite amount of risk and 100 leverage ETFs, which don't exist, thankfully, and zero DTEs and all that stuff, just crazy plays. But that's not the time to assess risk. Instead, it's these times right now where it feels terrible to be on margin. It feels terrible to be on leverage. Not saying those tools are never to be used. Just you can figure out on days like today what you're actually comfortable with and what helps you sleep at night. For me, yeah, the market stuff, it's numbers on a screen. It doesn't make me feel happy and thrilled. It matches my mood, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I've learned long ago what I'm comfortable with, and not to exceed that. Otherwise, I will feel terrible in times like this. I could just be stoic right now.
I went into margin today.
You did?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Or why? What?
I'm just writing cash secured puts on margin technically, but it's not really margin. It's like it's only margin if they all get called. And so I'm writing out some for November, but then I'm also writing stuff for like December. So basically, if something doesn't get called, I'll have the maintenance allowance or the actual cash to be able to cover it, right? If I get assigned. But if I get called on everything, like if we just go straight down for 2 weeks, then I'm screwed. Yeah.
I will give you, only you, not anybody else, financial advice. Don't do that very often, Tevis. You're a young man. You have time on your side, and it doesn't take too many. Like, it really only takes 1 or 2 times when you bet the farm for it to go really wrong to just mess you up. Right now, you're a billionaire. We don't want to have that be messed up.
I'm not a billionaire today. It doesn't feel like it's her. But I don't do it often. I did it in April, and and I'm just sneaking my hand back in the cookie jar again right now. But we'll see, man. I don't know how it's gonna play out. But like I have cash secured puts on like safe stuff too. Like I have cash secured puts on like SoFi and like Amazon. If I wanted to get out of that and take like a minor loss, like, oh, God forbid, I fucking take a 10% loss on Amazon to cover my margin for like, I just wrote 5 contracts for Nebius today. And then I wrote BMNR contracts yesterday, and yeah, it's fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah. The only, I did look at my portfolio. I looked at it last week too, where I had started, was it early last week or late the week before, of just saying, hey, I'm happy with my positions the way they are. Don't have a lot of cash, and it's just as I have money coming in through selling options and through income, I'm just going to let that stack up until there's a screaming buy. Today, I didn't buy. Things pulled back pretty good, but I'm still like, let me just stack some cash during this time. Now, if we go to extreme stupidity like we saw in April, which I bought some, but I bought it cautiously. I'd probably be more aggressive depending on what's actually causing it. This, and I think we'll talk about next, maybe Tevis, what's the cause of this fear. By the way, guys, if you're new to the show or it's been a little while, this is Bootleg Weekly, so we cover an array of topics. We're equally ignorant on most of them, but we have a lot of fun. But no, yeah, don't take what we say for financial advice. Do your own research, do your due diligence. Make sure you're comfortable holding what is in your portfolio at all times. And we are tonight going to talk about, of course, general market stuff. We'll continue that conversation in just a minute. I think we'll sneak in, and we'll have to sneak in some BMNR and Ethereum into crypto because, boy, it's not doing. I didn't expect it to, pop off like a lot of people thought, but I didn't expect we'd see Ethereum threaten to break 3,000 and Bitcoin be below 100,000. We'll talk, of course, some Robinhood predictions market stuff and Tesla and Schwab as well. That's all related, one topic. And also, I'd love to pick your brain, Tevis, for some HIM stuff, because I'm looking at this earnings call, and it's the only position when I looked at it. And so headline was pretty solid. Reading through some of the things, there are some yellow flags. I wouldn't say red flags there. But anyway, general market stuff. Why are we in extreme fear, and why is the market selling off?
I don't know, man. It's just the market gods are not liking me this week. It seems like we got some clarity on the China stuff. They agreed to buy a whole bunch of soybeans, and the world is good again. The soybean equilibrium has been reached. I don't know why we're selling off. Well, I guess all of these job announcements, and people are like, oh, well, it's actually not as sunshine and rainbows as it seemed, at least. Government shutdown. Yeah, that's a great point that somebody brought up. They're talking about closing down airspace, which is freaking wild. We have so much to talk about. This is going to be a 3-hour show. I also want to maybe at some point today talk about the project that I've been hinting at, that I'm working on the side. So if there's interest there, then I can talk about that at the end of the show as well. Although it is a massive red day, I don't think people are get your fucking products out of here, man. I don't have money to buy anything.
I think we all know about your dancing TikTok channel, Tevis. But I mean, you can show off and do it on stream, and that's fine. Yeah. I'm in full support. If you guys want to see Tevis dance, just say dance in the comments.
Yeah, dance monkey will get you better results. But yeah, is there any other reason other than that, Roy? I don't know if there was a specific catalyst.
I think it's mostly related to shutdowns, tariff stuff. There's always a little bit of tariff noise. We're not fully off that roller coaster, but that's definitely dying down. And what tends to happen in those scenarios, and I didn't predict this, but I predicted something like this, not nearly as aggressive, believe me. But usually what happens is when one wall of worry is climbed successfully in the bull market and we're moving on to the next, the market very quickly grabs onto that next narrative. Now, we were in earnings, so I was hoping that the focus would be on earnings and how amazing a lot of these beats are, and really how healthy this earnings season is. That stocks that do terrible misses and guide poorly and are kind of not my favorite stock, SMCI, for example, they're getting hammered and they deserve it. Stocks like Palantir, the most ridiculous earnings that I've ever seen in my life. I said that last quarter. This time, did you see them at all, Tevis?
Sorry, what were you talking about?
Did you see Palantir earnings at all?
No.
I'm not going to do a full thing, but
they had 60% growth or something.
63% year-over-year revenue growth while maintaining extremely high margin. Let me actually just pull up two things, and then we're going to continue our macro talk. But I have to sneak in just a little bit. So.
Sure,
but it's falling.
Veggies first. Let's have the veggies first. Palantir and PayPal, and then we can talk about degen things, like what I'm betting on.
Yeah, and we will mention, by the way, at the end we do a Q&A period. So if we don't get to your questions in the normal time, if they're not related to topics here, we'll try to hit those rapid fire at the end. So I do see some PayPal questions too, or PayPal in this case. Tevis, can you throw this up, please?
Yeah,
I'll show a couple of these. So this is the U.S. commercial side, and it just these numbers look so stupid to the point where, with some of these posts that I made, they're like, yeah, those have to be fraudulent. just because these are NVIDIA-like numbers from 2023, where a lot of people were saying the same thing about NVIDIA. Of course, it's if they're fraudulent, they're doing a good job of hiding it, and they're not. Palantir right here. This is, by the way, let's see. There's two of these. The first one is Rule of 40 enterprise software companies with more than 1 billion in trailing 12 months. So it does limit things, but this is software companies specifically, and you can see the Rule of 40 here. So adjusted operating margin and revenue growth. If you do well in one and not as well in the other, it's fine. You'll be like a FICO or something like that. But Palantir here has just moved from already ridiculous to even more ridiculous. A Rule of 40 score of 114%.
The Rule of 40 score.
Yeah.
And it should not be mistaken with this chart, which is actually the valuation.
Hey now.
I understand how it could be mistaken for the exact same chart. I understand that, but very different things.
Well, and like, to be fair, they actually are very related, because if you guys are interested in SaaS companies specifically and cloud, follow Jamin Ball on X. He works for Altimeter, and he publishes on Friday weekly Cloud Judgment Substack reports. And he talks about valuation and then trends and a lot of different things. And he's shown time and time again through a lot of measures that if you have an excellent and exemplary Rule of 40 score like this, if you throw this up also, Tevis, you will be trading at a premium valuation. Now, normally not the premium that Palantir commands. It's insanely expensive, even though it dropped 10% on the most ridiculous earnings ever. Why? Well, they crushed guidance. They crushed analyst expectations. I thought I was too bullish. I was guessing 57% year-over-year growth. And it looked silly. And I'm like, I really, like, everything indicates it's going to be a blowout. And it was. And yet it fell. Why? Because it's priced beyond perfection. But yeah, here is, the Rule of 40 top 25 market cap companies globally. And so NVIDIA does make this list, by the way. Eli Lilly, pretty good company there. TSM right there as well. Meta. I mean, they're massive and growing. This one's probably not quite as good as a comparison as this one. But
so yeah, I thought this guy had posted a similar Rule of 40 benchmark, but this one has I don't know if yours or if the Palantir one also had it framed like this, but basically this one has like the revenue growth estimates and then the GAAP EBITDA, and Palantir just shows up here. Wow, but I'm assuming you add them both up, which is what you're getting in the Palantir chart.
Yeah, and whatever they're using for their estimates are pretty terrible. I mean, like, yes, they're giving Palantir the benefit of that has to be, that wouldn't have been from, that's November 3rd. I don't know where they're getting those estimates, because if Palantir only grows between 35 and 40%, I'll be shocked. Now, I don't think that they'll be doing 60% year over year next year. They might, but I would say that they're going to be north of 40, and that's a pretty easy bet.
That's next year's estimates, right? So you think next year's is north of 40.
Mm-hmm. And that you should have a job. The other side of it, we rarely see GAAP EBITDA margin. That's a different Rule of 40 than what's standard. The standard is you're just looking at adjusted operating margin. So, maybe outside of SaaS, it's more common one way or another. Fintech's going the same direction too with Rule of 40.
EBITDA makes sense as well, right? Because it's basically the profitability with the growth rate put together. Yeah. So I don't know why you would look at adjusted operating margin.
Yeah, I mean, like that could the one you're showing does control for stock-based compensation, so that might be why. Exactly. And so, because Palantir does do an egregious amount of it, it's well deserved. They've earned it, but I mean, it makes them look even better than they really would be if they were paying more to their employees and a little bit less with SBC. Plus, the SBC is really juiced because of the stock performance and company performance. So it is kind of what it is. But yeah, as far as the macro, going back to that, I think it's mostly the consumer weakness. It's going back actually to that earlier trend that we saw about 4 weeks ago when we had Tricolor, and I don't remember the other one, that were auto lenders, that they lended towards the lower income score. And a lot of times those that were here illegally, and as a result, as people are deported or they no longer have jobs or whatever is going on, and those were like really ridiculous in terms of loans as well, the APR and everything, and just you're giving out loans to people for $800 a month that don't have that much discretionary income. It doesn't make any sense, but they did. And so they got hit, and there was a lot of concern in the market at that time. Now, we know that that's kind of isolated, at least on that specific sector with those two companies. Jamie Dimon's always bearish. He thinks that there's maybe more cockroaches, but doesn't seem to be. But what we're encountering now, the shutdown and the slowdown, or the shutdown is causing a slowdown. Government revenue is a driver of the economy. And when you have a scenario where a bunch of people that work for the government are not paid, now they will get back pay when the shutdown ends. We're now, though, at Tevis at the longest shutdown ever in American history. So you have crazy things like you mentioned before, where some airspaces might be completely shut down, which is terrible. It's not just passengers that are being flying around, but also a lot of freight as well. It's not a good thing at all. Food stamps, I know that or I guess it's SNAP. Initially, they were talking about not paying that out in November. Instead, it's 50% benefits, which cuts into the discretionary spending of a lot of people. I mean, these are people that there's some fraud there, but most of the people that, and I know a few people that are on SNAP benefits, man, they have nothing. And sometimes it's their fault, sometimes it's not. But I don't think anyone wants to see people starve. And there's a lot of ripple effects there as well. Now, at least predictions markets are saying that the shutdown will last sometime past Thanksgiving, which is that's a lot of pain on individuals. It's a lot of pain on families, and it's a lot of pain on the economy. And as a result, it should be pain on the stock market too. So this is one of those, like, if I don't know, the more pain that there is, I think that the more people will be screaming at their representatives saying, you guys got to figure this out. And by the way, it's utterly ridiculous that Congress still gets paid while they're paying military because they had a very wealthy donor step in, but while like air traffic controllers are not getting paid. That's ridiculous.
Well, the crazy thing, in addition to that, so I agree that's crazy. I think the also crazy thing is the fact that the national debt doesn't give a flying F. It just like keeps climbing along. Oh, yeah. Whether you're open or closed for business, it's just interest on top of interest compounding. It's insane. And yes, we will talk about BM&R. Pins, did you see this, Roy? People are reporting, they just reported earnings down 20% after reporting okay earnings. Like, ooh, man, I think Upstart also got their face handed to them. Yeah,
they missed on revenue is what I heard. So, and Upstart's kind of meh.
Oh, baby, this is gonna be fun, man. I feel like I'm gonna go into more margin before I go into less.
Back to margin. By the way, Tevis, I do use the free $1,000 margin in Robinhood because it's there to round out trades, and I'll dip into that at some point. But I also know what's coming in the market over the next 2 months, and so there's a point where I'd be like, okay, I'm comfortable taking on that much. Yeah, there you go. That much amount of margin over of stuff that will be coming in no matter what into the market over the next 2.5-3 months. But that's really the only margin that I use. I'm going to be very careful. Kelly, I kind of am glad too, just as a PayPal shareholder, because they didn't buy them, and I'm like, good. Thank you for not buying Pins. I know you're a shareholder though, so
I laughed out loud. Pins, I had to run in the door. Thought you said hymns down 20%. I mean, we're gonna talk about that too, because that was an interesting one. I have like a couple of posts that I've saved for that, but I'll let you drive what our agenda is. And by the way, Matt, if you want to come on the show, you are always more than welcome on this show, sir.
Yeah, and actually a lot of sympathy in the market too for those that are hurting most. Like, that's the worst thing about hard macroeconomic times for us, Tevis and I, and hopefully for many of you that are here. It's a hit to electronic money that's in our account. It's real, it's not without pain. But for others, like, man, they might not get to eat. That's terrible. So
did I show you this? I posted this earlier today. Guy on the train is watching The Big Short. I wonder how much money he lost today. Like, this is the bottom signal. Somebody commented, they're like, when randoms in public start talking about buying gold, it's time to sell. When they start watching Big Short, time to buy.
I mean, yeah, I think that probably the shutdown gets resolved not fairly soon. It's been a long time, but I don't know how much more pain there can be without things like really beginning to functionally break. And at some point, there just has to be an agreement. Now, that agreement's going to probably be terrible, but it is kind of what it is. So this is maybe like the next kind of pivot that I want to talk about too today, and then maybe we'll do Tim's next and get into some other fun stuff. So this is Michael Burry's Scion asset group. And so it's not just Michael Burry's number, but of course they reported the 13F filing, and there was two names, Palantir and NVIDIA, which, are looking pretty good today. But if you actually break this down, as far as I didn't have the full column over here that I got the screenshot of, it's basically at where Palantir is at too. So at best, he's probably broken even, and he's thankful for a day like today. Maybe he's out as well, but it's kind of shocking to me that, this is like 66% of his portfolio is on puts on Palantir. And I think it was in the teens as far as puts on NVIDIA. Man, yeah. I don't get this, Tevis. I would think that if he's doing this for because of overvaluation and macroeconomic reasons, that maybe something like a quantum compute would be a better target, or a business that is really deteriorating, like Western Union. Well, but so what do you think?
Look at it in the context of the other things. He's buying call options on Pfizer, Halliburton. He owns Lululemon. I don't think I don't think you need to overcomplicate this, right? Like Palantir is the most expensive stock in the market from a premium for their valuation, if not the most expensive, top 5.
No, Quantum is.
Okay, but does Quantum even make money?
No, exactly.
That's every stock that doesn't make money is by default. So I'm saying stocks that are profitable making money, what is the multiple premium? Palantir is definitely up there, right? So I think it's just I don't understand the NVIDIA. I could make a case for the Palantir, even though they have accelerating growth, and I probably wouldn't touch them to go short or long, quite frankly. I don't understand the NVIDIA one. So
yeah, that one's even dumber. I kind of get the Palantir on valuation. I think it's dumb to short on valuation. And if you're going to go after a company that is all hype and no revenue, and there's a bunch of those, not just Quantum, but that's top of mind. So, but NVIDIA makes no sense.
It's crazy the percentage. Dude, if you put a gun to my head and you were you have to go buy puts for 60% of your portfolio on something, I'd be just fucking kill me now. Cause I don't think I have the stuff. Puts on 66% of your portfolio. Well, no, not even 66%. It's 79% because you have NVIDIA and Palantir put together. 80% of your portfolio is puts, bro. What? Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you this, Roy. Fun game. If you had gun to your head, had to buy puts for 80% of your portfolio, what would the stock be?
Maybe it would be one of the quantum guys. Probably Wkly might be one, even though I think that that could be a really cool company. It's probably down big.
Yeah.
How long do I have to hold him for, though? That's the question.
I don't know, man. Well, Burry doesn't hold his puts for very long. I mean, other than the Big Short, which he's known for, but he holds them, he buys and sells intra-quarter. So he might be even out of the Palantir thing as we speak, right?
Yeah, here's Wkly. It's down from the end of October till now, 24%. Companies that don't make any revenue, there's a bunch of them that get really, really hyped. Yeah, that's when you get out. And Burry could be out. He could have made a little money. Probably not based on the timing of that, but who knows? But yeah, I think it's easier to bet against companies that don't have any revenue that are really inflated versus Palantir. I'm not, maybe he'll make money on it too, but man, if macro does not help him, and it's helping him right now, it's going to be tough, even in spite of the valuation. And it's a crazy valuation. It is. I'm not saying it's not. The NVIDIA one, though, is the stupidest thing ever. It's I don't know. Does Michael Burry think that AI isn't real? Because I understand that in 2023, maybe. But this is late 2025.
Jay Powell Fed says you need to short NVIDIA because if you don't kill the mom, you can't kill. What? I don't understand, dude. The small AI names are arguably way more overhyped from a valuation perspective and way less actually have a business thesis. NVIDIA has proven it out, and it's oh, well, they might not grow 50%, they might grow 45%. And those are the nuances where you can debate. But I don't think you can debate if it's going to zero or not. But I can name you 10 freaking AI companies that could very well go to zero.
Yeah. You want me to show you one? It probably won't go to zero, but yeah, it's a terrible company. And their CEO, who is basically kept the thing alive, C3AI. I rarely am negative on any stock as far as like actually buying puts. I don't short, but I do buy puts from time to time. I made a good bit of money betting against C3AI a number of times. And I don't usually talk about it, but man, it's a terribly run company that all Sebald, he's a good salesperson. He's a really good salesperson. But when you have a very thin product and you continue to do pivots, I mean, like they changed their name so many times for whatever it is. Like if AI is no longer hyped, they'll change their name again, I'm sure. It's ridiculous. Overpromise, underdeliver constantly, always excuses. It's just a very fundamental weak company, and that's why it's down. Despite being an AI company, and they do have a product, they're down 55% in the year of AI.
Their ticker is AI. That's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of retail. I remember back in late 2022, early 2023, a lot of retail was like pumping that stock. I'm like, guys, Palantir, it's a real AI company. This right here is just garbage. And I know some brilliant people that got caught up in it because Sebald, he's a really good salesperson, including selling other people on the stock. And now that he's retiring, and it's because of health reasons, I wish him well. I hope he enjoys retirement. It's nice and healthy and everything. But this is a terrible company. And I wouldn't say it deserves to be bankrupt, but it could go to zero without him there.
It absolutely could. It absolutely. I would probably like find some shit like Beyond Meat or something. Didn't that catch a bid recently? What's that at?
Yeah. Which one?
Beyond Meat. Yeah, that recently pumped. Look at that, Roy. Hold on, let me share my screen here. Please ignore all the red.
BYND, yeah,
man. It from 50 cents to $7, $7.7, and now it's back to $1.30. Whoever bought this candle, we gotta talk. We gotta talk. There's a tough conversation that me and you need to have.
Okay, pull up. I'm curious. I would not short or bet negative Open Door or I can't even think of the other one that starts with the B. Better. But yeah, look up Open. Is it getting crushed?
I'll throw up Open, but we will. So I saw the guy from Germany saying, I need to go to sleep. Can you guys please talk about BM&R?
Okay. Yeah, we can do that next.
We will talk about BM&R. Let us just degen and talk about Open Door real quick first. But BM&R is coming up next. Okay, hold on, Roy. Let me put up your ticker.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So Open Door. What else? What else is shortable, guys?
Yeah, throughout names, like if you guys were like, hey, this might be a short. We're not shorting. We're not telling people to short. We're just kind of curious how they're performing. So relative to what NVIDIA and especially NVIDIA, but Palantir also is doing. Yeah, Open. It's not too bad, like compared to where it was. And I would not bet against this. It's sidelines is the right place for me, honestly. I don't want to try to fight my. Yeah, Rigetti's down 10%. It's up, still here massively. Oh, Plug, PLUG.
Plug power. Wow.
Yes. I hope none of you hold this one, but I'm rooting against it just because Gemini is still crushing us in the stock draft competition. And it's partly because of.
You want to check in on that?
Yeah. I haven't looked actually today. Right, I have a feeling that Gemini is not as much in the lead as it was. A lot of it was crypto leverage, which is what we're going to talk about next. BM&R.
Look at this.
We have Tevis up. Looks like 25%.
I'll throw it up, Roy. Just a second.
Okay, you will.
I know Jeremy's really bullish on Fubo, and I haven't really seen. Jesus Christ. Look at that, man! Insane. But this is on a weekly view for Fubo.
Ooh. Gemini is one bad day away from giving up the lead to somebody else.
Okay. Hold on. Let me throw it up. All right, let's take a look at the stock draft, everybody. Let me put us back here. So, wow, we are actually close now that Gemini gave up all its gains. ChatGPT. Oh, Roy, no, buddy.
Yeah, so I'm heavy in Meta too in this, and it's like, dude, it's like Meta had a great quarter and it got killed, and I'm like, come on, I can't even like. I'm not personally ever going to buy Meta, and like here, I'm like, well, at least I can do it on paper trading stuff. Nope.
Yeah, I think SoFi is keeping me afloat because that was it fared fairly well today, and yeah, Hims has stagnated for the last 3 months, and then yeah, Nebius is doing great. Freaking Manuel, man, I hate the fact that he's like 20. You know?
Yeah, I mean, he's a genius. He really is. So if you guys don't follow him, by the way, on X, do.
Yeah, MVC Investing is his handle.
Yeah. All right. So BM&R.
All right. So in the streets, has anybody seen Tom Lee? And then somebody said, I put an AirTag on Tom Lee's pocket last time I saw him. Let me check. It's like, what island has he gone to? Yeah, I sent Roy the thing where it's like Tom Lee's LinkedIn profile, and then the latest job is like McDonald's worker or something. Yeah, BM&R.
Yeah, I just saw one of your viewers, Arun Badnagar, said today Axon got ripped hard after earnings, down 20%. That's also in my stock draft. So any stock that I have in my stock draft, just run hard.
I mean,
APS missed a 24% revenue beat. No, that's in September. Anyway, BM&R. Sorry, it's just rare when you see a company like Axon move that much either direction.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about BM&R. What? Yeah, Tanner bought Axon. I don't know if this is a joke or if this is actually true, but that would suck.
I think it's probably a joke.
Tanner yelled at someone calling him a BM&R scammer. It was hilarious, dude. Yeah, like Ethereum's down. What do you want, guys? It's a company that's a proxy for Ethereum, and Ethereum's down. And yeah, of course, BM&R is going to be down. Like, what do you expect it to be? I'm going to eat this banana on stream while you talk about BM&R.
Yeah, I mean, much of it's tied to Ethereum, the valuation, just because that's the underlying is the mostly Ethereum, 192 Bitcoin, and some orbs, which I don't care about, and it's a project I don't like. So I don't know that anybody, I mean, obviously Tom Lee was predicting Ethereum at like $15,000 by the end of the year. I'm like, or maybe it wasn't that, maybe it was a year out, but very rapid price accumulation. And I thought that we'd see price accumulation once we got past September. October tends to be pretty good for crypto. We're in November now, and boy, it's kind of rough. Ethereum right now, it's a little bit of a bounce when I was looking at it earlier. Let's see here. We're at, oh yeah, it's bounced some now, $3,500. But yeah, if it went, no, it's 3,200. If it goes below 3,000, I mean, could it keep selling off? Absolutely. But usually, like the thing is, it's very much a risk on asset. So when the market is in risk off mode, it's going to sell off. BM&R is a leverage bet on Ethereum, so it's going to sell off harder. And BMNU is a leverage bet on BM&R, so it's going to sell off ridiculously hard. Yes, I do have one put on BMNU, which is a put that I sold, so that's not looking good at all. But anyway, yeah, I would still say that the thesis is intact. Ethereum still being like the basic thesis is, again, Ethereum is getting a lot of attention. A lot of people are buying it and holding it and staking it. The more digital asset companies that do that, and institutions as well, the better it is long-term for price action. There will always be movements like this as well. I'm not concerned. Nothing has changed in my thesis. It's made it harder to sell calls just because I want to be careful, because usually when we do a pullbacks like this, the rebound is absolutely roaring the other way. But yeah, so it's not fun, but it's fine. And I don't see any reason to change my position. Now, this is also why, Tevis, when I was looking at this, I call it a swing, but it's a 2-year play for me. Could this be a beginning of a crypto winter? That's my question, because I do think that we'll have one at some point. I thought we would have had one before, like some point this year when it was last year. Now it feels like more of a next year thing. But could this be the beginning of crypto winter? Probably not. Usually that happens after a blow off the top rally, which we have really not seen. But yeah.
Oh my God. I don't think a single person was listening to the BMR segment. They were all too fixated on me eating my snack. Guys, I worked all day. Okay, I come back home and I have 20 minutes to eat food and go on stream with you guys. And this is what I get. This is the thanks I get.
Yeah, yes. I've had like 140 calories today, so I'm starved too. But I'll drink my tea.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Roy. YouTube might censor this stream now from me eating banana.
Well, initially I was like, okay, why are like half the, if you remember when we did FinTech Friday, I guess I was paying attention to the comments. I wasn't listening to Tanner. And as a result, I repeated almost word for word what he said. And everybody's saying, am I doing that again? I'm like, no, it's
Kelly says, of all the food you could have chosen, Tez, Kelly, this was on purpose because I'm going to be announcing the product that I've been working on for the past summer. So I need to draw the users in so that I can get maximum awareness. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate that.
On that note, hymns, right? No, just kidding.
Yes.
More BMR. Yeah. Let's talk BMR first.
Sure.
So your perspective has your position changed other than just the movement down? And has a thesis changed at all for you?
Thesis has not changed. My position has changed because I wrote more cash secured puts. So I wrote cash secured puts at I did them in the money. I wrote them at 50 because I'm a freaking idiot. But that's fine. That's fine because my cost basis is like 45 and I got like $7 a premium or something. So I was like, okay, cool. Like I can lower my cost basis and get a stupid amount of premium. So we'll see. I bought more BMR shares yesterday. I actually posted about this. I bought like 600 shares, I think. When was it? Yesterday or 2 days ago? Well, Tuesday. So yeah, yesterday. And then I did my weekly recap for BMR. Actually, that's what I can show you guys. Sorry, like I now have a pain in my esophagus because I was laughing while eating this. Yeah, exactly. It's a mukbang channel now. I mean, maybe that's what we do, man. Maybe Steve has the milk gang and we can just eat food while we talk about stocks. Maybe that's our thing, you know? Okay, here's my take on Ethereum and BMR. Really, really stop, please. Really quickly, okay? There's 4 things. There's like a gazillion freaking things. I had like 100 tabs in my last BMR recap video, but there's 4 things that I want to talk about. Number 1 is exchange reserve. Ethereum is going into some supply shock, and similarly with Bitcoin as well. Thank you, George, for appreciating the videos. I'm not going to eat another one. Thank you for the donation, but yeah, I learned my lesson. You guys cannot have nice things. So that's the first one, Roy. We're going into supply shock. When supply is low, demand is high, price goes up. Now, obviously, that's not the case. Like I can't predict the price today or for tomorrow, but generally speaking, these trends are going to show up over time. Oh man!
So not today, tomorrow. 3 days from now, could you predict the price?
Maybe it's possible.
Yeah.
Maybe 3, maybe 4. We'll see, man. Ethereum versus the world's biggest FX reserve holders. Ethereum stablecoins would rank as the 22nd largest global reserve. That is crazy. It's ahead of countries like Indonesia and Turkey from the global reserve perspective. So it's kind of people are still going on about the bananas, man. Just let me know what other food you want me to eat next, I guess, and just donate money. I don't know, man. What is my life at this point? The third thing, I think the most fucked thing about this, Roy, is like I'm actually like a very serious, tech executive in the real world, and I'm a total degen here. The third thing is crypto adoption by institutions. So this is really a beautiful map of all of the major institutions that are adopting cryptocurrency in general. This was compiled by Bitwise, and you can see that the vast majority of them are either in crypto trading and custody, or they're in crypto ETFs, and many of them in tokenization as well. So what does that tell you? Well, that tells you that all of the major winners in that Web 2 world, the major financial institutions that are existing institutions, they're all adopting the blockchain. They're all adopting cryptocurrency. They all are building on top of that infrastructure. And finally, this is the institutional demand for Bitcoin continues to outweigh new supply. So this is not necessarily for Ethereum, nor is it for BMNR. It's for Bitcoin, but it really speaks to the demand for cryptocurrency. You can see the last 2 years here, these green bars is the institutional demand for Bitcoin, and these gray bars is the new supply that is essentially put into the market by miners. And so you have this massive discrepancy here. I should not read the comments while I say these. You have this massive discrepancy here where institutions are like far outstripping the supply. And this takes me back to the first chart I shared, which you're going to see this exact same chart play off for Bitcoin as well. You're going to see supply shock on Ethereum, supply shock on Bitcoin because of institutional demand, because of the geopolitical demand, the macro demand, and because of this adoption ultimately. So I think these were sort of my 4 most interesting charts for my last BMNR recap. But of like, if you haven't seen that, definitely go check that out. But I think BMNR will be just fine. I think what we're going through is very short-term pain, and that's why I bought more.
Yeah, I mean, I actually bought more Ethereum last week just because of that. I bought some BMNR too last week. This week, I'm just in stacking up cash, though things do get really stupid, which we're not there yet. Yeah, I went ahead and checked the LinkedIn thing. I guess it was a meme, but with Tom Lee working at McDonald's. Yeah. I think he's right. I think he's usually a little bit too aggressive on his price targets, but long term, like he's like a much better, much savvier Kathy Wood, where she would put out some ridiculous things, but be like way too ahead of the timeline. Yeah, I don't think that's the case with Tom Lee, other than the little bit too high price targets. But I still think, at least for me, I think 2 years, I'm going to be very happy every share that I bought at BMNR. And also every bit of Ethereum that I'm holding as well. Glad I hold both. Let's maybe talk the combined Schwab, Robinhood, and Tesla. It's a combined topic.
Can I first plug my can I do like a 5-minute spiel on my thing, and then we can continue with our show?
On your banana?
No, not that thing. On the startup, which you know about.
The TikTok dance thing. Yeah, go ahead.
No, Roy, stop. You know about it.
I do. It's very cool. All right. So this is worth listening to, guys, especially if you're into options.
Yes. Okay. It's not a banana app. Let me share my screen. Cool. So for the past couple of months, well, maybe I should say this. For the past year, I've been doing options trading, and I've been running the wheel. That's funny. And so I had a firsthand experience of actually tracking those trades. And I thought to myself, well, there should be a better way to do this than Excel. And so we're going to be launching soon, towards the end of the year is our goal, an app called Alpha Ledger. The website is alphaledger.io. I'll put it in the chat for you guys. And basically what it is, and this is not live yet, but basically what it is, as the name suggests, it's a place to track all of your options trades. We link with the actual, we get live stats from the market. So we're using Polygon's API, and we are going to be integrating with all the major brokers so that when you make a trade on Robinhood, it's just going to show directly in the app. And then you're going to have all the graphs with your premium, profit and loss automatically adjusting. You're going to have in-depth analysis. You can do tracking through there. We're working on adding stuff like that. We're going to add Bitcoin, like crypto tracking. We're going to add dividends later on. We're going to add a whole bunch of other stuff. This is just the early pricing plan. If you guys do want to join the wait list, then definitely fill in this form. And so basically, it's just a way for you guys to track if you do option selling, what are you making off of premiums versus what are you making off of capital gains? We are going to have tax documents later on as well. So like we'll calculate the fees and the premium income and the trades, and then you'll be able to export that from the system. Again, this is coming soon, within the next couple of months. We're finally at a place where we're getting ready to test it with a small group of devs. If you want to contribute as a developer, just DM me on Twitter and we can talk about that. And then if you guys have any other feature ideas, then also just let us know here. But yeah, you can go to the website alphaledger.io, and it's basically something that I'm using personally now instead of Colin's our designer, instead of an Excel sheet. So instead of just inputting everything into an Excel sheet, I'm just doing it through here, and it's much better insights and analysis. Roy, any questions?
I mean, it's amazing look. Like you showed me earlier prototype, and this I love the layout of this page. Love the layout of the app, and yeah, this somebody asked in the comments, don't brokers keep track of that for you? They do not. They do not at all. I don't know of any broker that does this.
Here's the other cool value prop. This is a unified broker dashboard, so you can connect your Robinhood and your Schwab and your Fidelity, and then you can have one unified view of everything in real time across multiple brokers. So your brokers some of them might do it. Like I know for TJ, Tasty Trade does it for him. But if you're using multiple brokers, no broker is going to track stuff across their competitor apps. Whereas this is like an aggregate data layer on top of the broker layer, if that makes sense. So yeah. Oh, also, it's going to be a very generous free tier because somebody's asking how much will it cost. So for free, you can just do manual entry. You can have basically like a CSV import where you can import your current Excel spreadsheet, and you're going to have delayed analytics. But then you can have live stats for a monthly fee, and then you can have the automatic broker integration for a monthly fee as well, so that you don't have to like manually enter your trades. But we'll just pull them from whatever broker you integrate. Over time, over the next couple of months, I'm going to be doing demos of the app. So I'm going to actually log into my account. You guys can see my real numbers and how it works. But yeah, right now, I think what we feel comfortable sharing is the name, what we're working on, what it is, how it works. And so, yeah, guys, sign up for the waitlist if you're interested, and we'll send out some beta codes for you guys to start playing around with it. That's it. That's my spiel. Shall we move on, Roy?
Well, I guess I'll say, like, because people are asking, this is Tevis's project. He is working with some others. I'm not included. They asked me to be a mascot, and I thought that wouldn't be appropriate. I thought TJ should be the mascot. No, just kidding. But no, this is something that they built. This is not something that they are getting from anybody else or anything. And it was a brainchild of Tevis. The dude is brilliant. I know he acts all degenerate and everything, but he really is. So
super degenerate. I'm super degenerate.
Well, yeah, I guess both could be true. Brilliant and degenerate. So
look, you know what, man? Like, I think the best products are just fine. Like for me, I just wanted to build something that I would use, and I'm using an Excel dashboard, and I built my own formulas, for it. When I input my trades manually. And then I was like, why am I doing that? Like, I can just build something that does it all for me, that integrates with my broker, that integrates with the live options data, like the same provider of market data that Webull is using and that Robinhood is using. Like, we tap into those same ones. And then I was like, okay, cool. Like, I've built them for myself. Why not just provide it to other people? And so I think that's really the thought process. Because I'm trading on a regular basis now. And so, yeah. Anyways, there's a real team behind it that, I've made a couple of connections being in the tech sector for the last decade. So some really cool folks building it with me. If you guys are interested, waitlist, DM me on Twitter, and we'll talk more if you guys want to help build it or want more info. No degen football tracking bets just yet. That will probably, knowing me, come soon. Will it work for SoFi accounts? Yes, it will work for SoFi accounts. So you can integrate your SoFi account. Okay, let's there's a lot of stuff that I'm gonna go back. Is it desktop only? So it's mobile friendly. Like it doesn't break anywhere on mobile, but yeah, it's desktop predominantly. We don't have a mobile app out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you can track whatever strategies. I'm using it for option selling, but we're gonna have dividends as well. So like you can, and like Steve would be a prime example of somebody that we want to interview for dividends. Like getting him on and asking him what he cares about, because he has dashboards where he's tracking like what month I get paid, how much am I going to get paid, what are my dividend reinvestment plans. So like that's something that's coming up in the future. We also want to do like social sentiment, like what Public did initially, where you can follow people's trades. So anyways, that's just that's a high level. Let's keep going with the show.
All right. Yeah, sounds good. So I asked my audience, would they prefer Hims or Tesla and Robinhood and Schwab next? So they voted Tesla by a narrow margin. We'll do both. Then we'll do maybe some Q&A unless there's some topics that I missed. So this is more of a where we were a day ago versus where we are now. There was some updated breaking news that happened like an hour ago. So if you can throw this up, Tevis, I will take it from there. So there is, and we've talked about this before, a vote that's coming up for Tesla specific to the compensation plan of Elon Musk. Won't go into it here. We've already talked about it elsewhere. And of course, individuals and people that hold stock, my few shares, Tevis's, 10 million shares, will all get votes based on that. But also institutions hold a large amount of Tesla, and a lot of those institutions are based on ETFs. Schwab has a large number of very popular ETFs, and as a result, they have a large number of Tesla shares as well, 7 million total. And previous 2 times when it came to the package of Elon Musk, they voted no. Now, Sawyer Merritt, I saw him, he was furious, and a lot of other people were as well. And if you look at the comments, like people are threatening to leave. Elon noted, by the way. Over this, if Schwab did not capitulate. And so Vlad, being savvy Robinhood guy, he's always very in tune and aware of what's happening with that sort of thing, especially when it relates to their brokerages and also retail and traders. And so he said, should we do a match for people moving their Tesla shares over? And of course, I voted 2%. Yeah, do it. Make it good. And then new predictions market just dropped on Robinhood, including this market on Elon Musk's pay package. Will Tesla shareholders approve Elon Musk's new pay package this year? It's between 93 and 95%, so very high. Now, the breaking news is here, and Erudition mentioned it in the comments here for me, which I really appreciate. Schwab has just released a public statement saying that it is voting for Elon Musk's 2025 CEO Performance Award. Now, I have to think, and I'll read this part of this right here, not all this down here, but they say, yeah, I think that really retail here is the reason why that vote changed. Now, who knows? Maybe they would have voted yes, but I expect because of previous votes, they would have voted no. So they say, we appreciate your patience and understanding as we await the conclusion of the voting process for the Tesla shareholder meeting being held later this week. Schwab Asset Management's approach to voting on proxy matters is thorough and deliberate. We utilize a structured process that focuses on protecting and promoting shareholder value. We apply our own internal guidelines and do not rely solely on recommendations from Glass Lewis or ISS in accordance. And they just kind of go through. That's all, basically them saying, we're going to do it now. So, yeah, that's an interesting, yeah. Here's a translation, by the way, from Amit. Sawyer and Jason were about to tear up our rear ends and take billions off the platform. So we decided to vote for Elon. And honestly, I think we could have seen a pretty massive capitulation away from that platform, which is doing just fine, but they don't want one of those to happen. And so they're like, well, let's just flip our vote. There we go. And now people are happy with them. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to pass. If you look at Elon's sentiment, like the guy telegraphs so much through his emotions, because, I mean, he's not like I almost said a real CEO, but he's not like a seasoned operator in the sense that like he's very stoic. I think he's more of like a product guy, of 0 to 1 founder, like somebody who he wears his emotions, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. And he did 2 podcasts this week. He did the All In podcast and he did Joe Rogan, and I watched both of them. And he seems in great spirits. He seems pumped up, and so I think that he's confident that it's gonna pass, and or that it maybe already passed, right? Yeah, exactly. 5 hours of podcast is not bearish. So you might be like, oh, well, Tevis, that's not a real great indicator. But like, dude, we're counting this guy's fucking tweets on to determine what earnings is going to do. Like, yes, it is a good indicator when you are dealing with the type of person that's like that, right? So I think that the vote is definitely going to pass. November 6th is around the corner. And, I think he is telegraphing that it's all going to be good. Now, what is the stock going to do after that vote? That's going to be the interesting point. Like, is it going to be a sell the news type of moment, or is it going to just pump?
Yeah, I would guess sell the news, but I don't know. How did it do in previous? Because I know I was a shareholder for the most recent one, but I don't remember. And the previous one, I was not a shareholder then. So,
I think it's done well in the past. I can't remember though. It's been a long time. But I wouldn't be surprised, dude. So I have I have call options for Tesla for $505 for Friday, and I should probably close those, right? Like that's probably the move. I should close those. I should definitely close them, right, before Thursday.
since you're saying that, yes, Tevis, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so that should be your answer as to how I feel about it. It's I'm going to close my covered calls early.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, if you're wondering if you should do something and you're thinking about it a lot, usually that's an answer right there. So, yeah. No, I think that everybody knows and expects that this will pass, and I think that they would have passed easily even without Schwab. They did the last 2 times too. So having 7 million shares now vote in favor. Of course, Elon is the largest shareholder. Tevis, I think you're number 2, if I'm not mistaken, or number 3. But either way, a lot of people voting yes. So
Mm-hmm. I don't think I'm voting with my shares, but maybe I don't think I didn't vote. I don't think I will vote. It's like in 2 days, right?
But, yeah, I think so. Yeah. So yeah, that seems like it's kind of resolved. It's interesting just to see the pressure that retail is able to do. It's also fun that the pressure was exhibited mostly on the X platform, which is Elon Musk. So that's working as intended there. So,
oh, look at this guy! Wow, TJ, you should rewind about 15 minutes, man. I talked about my product, which is an option selling product. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. I tried to save BM&R today. I saw TJ's stream earlier today, and I commented. I was like, "Thanks. Now I can go to $50." So, yeah. Look, I think I don't know what your next topic is going to be. Probably HIMS, but one of the interesting pieces is, did you see Sam Altman's interview with what's his face?
Gerstner?
Yeah, Brad Gerstner.
Yeah.
And there's so many things that have like come out about that guy around. Like I think Globe and Mail did a piece on him, and then he and Elon were like bickering again. Man, I get heebie-jeebies from that guy.
I do too. That's why I don't like Orbs that BM&R purchased, because that's a Sam Altman project. Plus, it would give me the heebie-jeebies anyway, just having your retina scanned and having that digital. I was like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just too old. But yeah, I think that he's a pretty amazing CEO, but I don't know. There's something off with the guy. I'm not saying OpenAI is fake or a fraud or the revenue numbers are like, I don't think any of that, but would I trust him to watch my daughter? No. Would I trust him to have a conversation with my wife? No. Would I trust him with my wallet? No. Would I trust him to use him as an LLM in my everyday work? Yeah, I would. So,
yeah, exactly. Dude, like Tucker Carlson was like, "Oh, like I don't think your employee killed himself," and Sam was like, "I've never been accused of murder in a podcast before," and Tucker's like, Nobody accused you." Like, just be a normal human and be like, "Oh, that's interesting. That should be investigated."
yeah.
It's just, yeah, it's weird watching him on interviews.
I think that probably a lot of it is kind of like what we saw with Mark Zuckerberg before he had a lot of coaching as well, that he's a very awkward guy. That doesn't seem awkward initially, but there's some eccentricity that is beyond the norm for most CEOs. Most CEOs are somewhat eccentric. You have Alex Karp, certainly is very eccentric. Elon Musk, very eccentric. Andrew Dudum, pretty eccentric as well. So yeah, that's the thing. Zuck has gotten a little bit cooler too, but Altman is.
Okay. Here's the thing, because I understand this comment, the autism rate. I get it. They're tech guys. They're not the most social. Like, a lot of them are engineers. I've worked with engineers. I get it. I also get that, like, hey, you're not, PR ready or media ready, media trained just yet, because you just like woke up one day and you're a billionaire. I get that too. So even excusing his interview behavior, I think the thing that gives me the heebie-jeebies is like every single person around him is like, yeah, this person's a complete asshole. Like, we don't like working with him. Like, didn't they kicked him out of OpenAI, and then he got back in, and then everybody sort of left. And then it's just, I don't, he still acts like, I don't know, man. I posted this about like the declining market share of OpenAI. Maybe I can bring that post up, because that would be an interesting thing. And I think people just still like blatantly defend OpenAI. I said, like, Sam gives me some grifter vibes. And this is like the 2023 versus 2025 market share for LLM. And you can see OpenAI had like the biggest market share, and now it's not. Now OpenAI is it's still the biggest market share, but it's not. Actually, it's not. Anthropic is, and then it's OpenAI, then it's Google. This is like chart crime, basically. What I'm looking at.
That's a terrible chart. Yeah, Claude has been doing amazing things on the back end. Like, if you're not a coder or a developer, you probably don't know them very well and you don't know the product, but that's where they went. And early on, like in 2023, I'm like, yeah, who cares about Anthropic and Claude? But no, I mean, they've been doing good work. And yeah, so congratulations to them. That I did say Claude was one of just a few private equity opportunities that I wouldn't mind investing in for sure. Like, they've been ahead of the game for a long time.
Anyways, that's my whole personal thing. Roy, if OpenAI IPO tomorrow at $1 trillion valuation, which is what they're, no, not for you.
I wouldn't buy it. No.
Would you short it?
It's a commodity, man. It's a commodity. I'm not going to buy a commodity, even if it's rapidly growing for a while. It will become commoditized. The competition isn't going away. That's not where I want to be. I think that it'll be fine, and you can still do well as a business and make a lot of money and increase your multiple and all that stuff. But when it IPOs, Tevis, the problem is it's not going to IPO at like the fair value based on, where it's at in terms of revenue and growth rates. It's going to be super ridiculously overheated. Like, I don't know what the valuation should be, honestly, but whatever the valuation should be, it's going to be like 8 times that for the IPO day. Now, if it does a not uncommon IPO thing where it IPOs and it pops and it goes crazy and wild, and then when officers and C-suite people can actually start selling shares and stock can be shorted, it starts just like really tumbling down to closer to fair valuation. Yeah, I would think about having a stake in it, even though it is a commodity. I mean, at fair valuation, or more fair valuation, that'd be fine. But no, this one I would stay away from. But also, in the same breath, Space X is one that I will also stay away with. Not because it's a commodity. I think it's an amazing company, but that's going to be so stupidly superheated. Now, I would, depending on the valuation, file for IPO allocation, but I might get like 1 or 2 shares, even if I put in for 1,000, just the way that works. So, yeah, Andorra might be interesting. I would have to take a look, but
Oh my God, you say OpenAI and this guy just shows up. Don't say it 3 times in the dark in the mirror.
There's no price like he would make fun of Palantir's extreme evaluation, and then OpenAI will be trading at a higher price to sales or something like that.
Yeah, he makes fun of random people for just commenting on BMNR in his chat. So I wouldn't put it past him for making fun of, whoever hates on OpenAI. Yeah, look. Well, so Roy, let me ask you this now. So at $1 trillion valuation, you would not buy it. Would it replace Wkly as your gun to your head short 80% of your portfolio on it? No.
They're not pre-revenue. They are raking in revenue. They're growing massively, and I could be wrong on them. Like the commoditization process is going to take a while to play out anyway. So I would expect that there's probably more upside over the short term. I mean, maybe not on the IPO peak, but it might do something like Circle. Circle had an extreme IPO pop. It's not given up all that. Now I've not looked at it the last few days, but it's a really good, solid company, growing rapidly. The stablecoin market is kind of being commoditized as we speak, but yeah, I would just be cautious with it is all I'm saying. I wouldn't short it. It's easier to do in this type of environment. No, that's completely wrong. That's a terrible take. And the market will also disagree too.
Oh my God, these are fighting words, Tanner. Do you know who you're talking to, man?
Yeah, a commodity is better than an absolute unicorn. Okay, sure.
Would you rather have Karp instead of Altman as the CEO of OpenAI?
Of OpenAI?
Yeah, and that means he cannot be the CEO of Palantir.
Oops. No, I mean, no. I think there. See, the weird thing with Palantir is a lot of times you have key man risk, especially like relating to the CEO. If he leaves or whatever, retires, then that's a tough thing, especially if it's the founder. Of course, Peter Thiel and Alex Karp co-founded it. Karp is a very unique CEO in that he's like a philosopher king over Palantir. But if he ever retires, there's no other Karp, and even at the organization, there's a lot of brilliant people, some of whom I met. But Sham is the number 2 guy. He would make a great CEO for Palantir. He's still not Alex Karp. So, but the company would be in great, fantastic hands. Altman, he gives me weird vibes and stuff. I think he's a great CEO. We've seen twice where massive amounts of talent either fled or was poached from OpenAI, and they're just fine. He strikes these deals left and right. He's really weird and awkward in a lot of ways, but he reminds me in a lot of ways of Mark Zuckerberg. Now, I actually like Mark a little bit better than Sam as far as vibes. And I don't really love Zuckerberg. I respect him, though. And he's an amazing CEO. Meta has been disrespected, by the way, by the market, which is just crazy. But yeah, I would not want Karp to ever leave Palantir. But if he does, they'll be okay. And Karp would be a terrible fit, I think, for OpenAI, what they need. You need a very different person in charge of that.
Cool. What's the next topic?
HIMS.
Yes. Karp scares me as a CEO, Greg says.
I mean, a lot of people were saying that years ago, and very few are saying that now because he's a genius. He's very eccentric. I won't say a little eccentric because he's very, but an atypical CEO. But sometimes it takes a creative genius to do something like a Palantir. And even though, just going back to that earnings report, like a lot of people are telling me, oh, these are bad earnings. They're just saying that because of the valuation. They're like, oh, these are terrible earnings for a company that's trading at this valuation. It's like, can you just appreciate how killer those earnings are for the actual company? And then in the next breath, take a breath in and then say, also, the valuation is crazy. That's fine. But you can have both in your mind. Anyway, HIMS doesn't have that problem. Did you cover the earnings call live, Tevis?
I did not cover the earnings call live, sir, and I didn't make a video about earnings. So this is the first time people will have heard my thoughts on this earnings.
So here is the key financial highlights. I think you guys can hopefully see that. Q3. So year-over-year growth is decelerating. This is still fantastic, but a lot of this is because of the GLP-1 revenue. As far as a year-over-year, they really started scaling that in Q4, and then Q1 was just a blow-off top type of moment. and that's when the shortage list ended. And so we'll actually start to see some comps that are more reasonable in a couple of quarters. I see HIMS, and this didn't shift anything for me as more of a next year growth story, that they really kind of have to get past the offboarding of a lot of the GLP-1 revenue, and also to see the newer products like testosterone. I saw a couple people mentioning that in the comments earlier, and estrogen, and perhaps peptides, the Tribe Labs and home test kit, and of course, Zava as well, GLP-1 stuff with semaglutide in Canada. There's a lot of growth drivers next year is basically what I'm saying. So this year, though, and right now, like, this was actually slightly better than I expected as far as revenue. Net income is down massively, but again, a lot of that is because of the GLP-1 stuff. There was also somewhat, this is adjusted. If you look at it on the GAAP basis, they actually did a lot better. And there's some footnotes on that why. And then the adjusted free cash flow is positive. Free cash flow is good. Subscribers, that's an interesting topic there too, because if you just look at this, you're like, hey, this is great. This is, end of the period. They have seen some growth. They are losing some generic customers, usually those that are using ED type of stuff, but they seem to be replacing it with more valuable customers. Now, one thing I have a question on, Tevis, on this. This is a really cool metric where their monthly online revenue per average subscriber, good metric, is now 80 versus 67 in the prior quarter. Yeah, 19% year-over-year increase. Very good. Like, you want to see them have more subscribers, more products to offer, more personalization, and also the flywheel effect operating well. Now, this, if you look at number 2, it says refer to pages 18 and 19 for definitions. And if we go down there, I don't know if they had any comments on this in the actual earnings call. Okay, here we go. Definitions are right here. Monthly online revenue per average subscriber is defined as online revenue divided by average subscribers, which is the amount then further divided by the number of months in a period. So is this, Tevis, the revenue that they have on average per user for this quarter, or is this an annual thing?
I thought it was for this quarter. That's how I always read it.
Yeah, I think that is too. In which case, this is really good. This is actually really bullish. Yeah, that was the only. So margins were okay. Advertising spend is still like very, very high relative to where subscribers are. Cost of acquisition, is something to keep an eye on. It is more costly to get the personalized type of subscribers. And maybe I need to go here. This is really like the bull case and bull thesis of HIMS, is that the personalized subscriber growth will continue. And even if non-personalized, this right here is no moat, the non-personalized. You can get this stuff anywhere from anybody. HIMS makes it cheap and easy, but Amazon can do it just as well. Rogue can do it just as well. Dozens and dozens of companies. This level of personalization, there aren't companies that do this to this degree. There's a level of personalization. And so seeing this continue to increase is good. Now, it's not going to be really a 50% year-over-year increase. I think we see some slowdown here. So we'll have to really see how those new products ramp into the next year and also in quarter 4. But the only thing that I guess there's 2 things I really didn't like. One was they mentioned actually several different times that they were in talks and discussion with Novo Nordisk to be able to sell GLP-1 products. Now, we also saw Eli Lilly, I believe, and also Novo Nordisk say that they're near a deal with the president and the United States as well to offer basically subsidized GLP-1 revenue at $149. It'll also be on Medicare. Hasn't been agreed to yet. So that would be a very low margin thing. It might take lawsuits off. And then the other thing is, last quarter, they broke out non-GLP-1 revenue. So you could see it on a 6 and a 3-month basis as far as that core revenue, excluding GLP-1. This is in the 10Q. And so I waited for the 10Q to come out today. It's not in there, Tevis. And I don't like that. It feels to me like they're trying to hide it. But still, like, looking at the actual revenue and everything, it looks okay. So it's a yellow flag to me. It's not a red flag, but I don't know. What were your thoughts overall in the earnings? What stood out to you? What did you like? What did you not like? And did anything change in the position?
Let me answer that in just a second. I just want to add June as a moderator. Okay, so I think the earnings was okay. Honestly, I was quite nervous about the earnings because I was sort of on the fence with regards to where my conviction sat on Hims, meaningfully lower than in the spring, obviously, um, but not low enough for me to like completely uh, lower the size. I don't think I want to sell out of Hims, at least not yet. But I definitely don't want it to be in my top three positions. I think the earnings, I was pleasantly surprised. EPS still missed. Net income, I mean, whatever. We saw a compression there. I think the GLP-1 thing, like the $150 fat pills, as the president called them, um, I think that's going to hurt because GLP-1s is a big portion of their of the actual like revenue that they make. Um, the customer acquisition cost, they're ramping it up to drive revenue. Marketing spend fell even in spite of this 39%. Um, I just think that they're going to struggle, man. Like it's going to be difficult. Of course, I want to see more information around how testosterone does, how the menopause products do that they launched in October. And then obviously peptides is going to be the big thing that people are going to be looking forward to. So at a high level, like there was nothing in this earnings that really wowed me for me to say, this business is crazy. Yeah, I agree with Elijah, right? Like the business is reinvesting heavily. We're in a transition phase. And in a transition phase, what you get is you get a holding pattern, right? You have to, I agree with this. Subscriber growth is sliding all the way down to 21% year over year. You have to also take a look at comparable periods, but I agree. It's not the best thing that you want to see because as you get more and more headwinds from a GLP-1 perspective, then obviously that puts pressure on all of these other sides of the business. And I just think we don't have a lot of clarity on the other sides of the business. I would have loved more commentary around testosterone and the new product lines and how they're ramping up. So I just feel like there's still unknown questions. The Novo Nordisk thing, I absolutely feel like that was just complete BS,
Yeah. Pump the stock. I don't like that.
Exactly. And so like, how many of these things are you going to tolerate before you're like, you know what? I don't trust this management team. How many times does the CEO need to respond to short sellers? How many times are they going to do things specifically to pump the stock? Because like, if you're doing things to pump the stock, what does that tell you? That tells you that this company is not truly long-term focused. Why do they need to pump the stock? Are they going to raise money? Why?
Well,
they just need an Sava.
I mean, they mentioned mergers and acquisitions again when they talked about international expansion to a $1 billion annual run rate at some point, like in the distant future. That part of that would be fueled through strategic mergers and acquisitions. So they do leverage the stock premium to be able to buy other companies and add to their ecosystem, and that's fine. I still don't love that. Now, can I tolerate it? Yes, to a certain extent, and I agree with Elijah that we're in transition. I'm willing to wait it out with a caveat. If something else is just a screaming buy and I need some money on that, Hims is going to be the first casualty in my portfolio. So, because I think it's long-term thesis, I think is still intact. But they're in a transition right now, and we have to see how they come out the other side. And there are things that are unclear to me. And one of those big pieces is, well, I mean, there's two. They brought on some pretty interesting people over the last 6 months. One was Mo Elshwani, who is the Cruise CEO. And then the other was I can't think of his name right now, from Amazon, the Amazon dude that helps grow up.
And he's not even on their team, in their advisors.
Exactly. But which is weird.
Tom, we're going to get to this at the end. I have it bookmarked. I don't know if you have another question, but if it's this one, then we're going to get to it. I have like 16 questions bookmarked. So if you guys want to ask more, we're going to cover them all at the end. So I think long story short, man, with regards to Hims, it's maybe like a middle of the pack conviction company that I want to hold right now, at least as they go through this transitionary period, as Elijah says. Like, I think Elijah also added, like, hey, subscriber growth, 21% would be great, if you're like Meta. But if you have 2.5 million subscribers, why are you only growing 21%? You know, like I don't like. So I think where my conviction was in the spring versus where it is right now is a little bit night and day. It's absolutely a hold, in my opinion. If it falls, under 40 and in the 30s and sustains there, then I'm going to be adding more to my position. But at the same time, it's not one of those names where like I don't want to write covered calls because I'll lose my shares and I'll be too emotional. Like SoFi is in that camp. SoFi, if I write covered calls at 34, I'll end up buying those covered calls back at a loss because I'm like, no. I really want to hold this above, 34. But for HIMS, if I write them at, 55 and they get called away, well, sucks. So I want to eventually right size that position to make it a middle of the pack holding, maybe like 4% of the portfolio or something towards, less like, because right now it's like 6%, 7%. So I want to cut that down in half.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Like, are you adjusting your holding based on this earnings? Because you also have HIMS.
No, I mean, it's adjusting itself just because the stock. Well, actually, it popped, which is interesting initially. It sold off like everything else today, but no, I'm holding the shares that I'm holding, and I plan to continue to hold it. It's I still think the bull thesis is intact, but we need to see more. And yeah, this earnings was. I was a little bit surprised by the pop, but part of it I think was just expectations were so low going into that, and I think that probably will be a continued theme for HIMS, or at least the next 2 quarters that they report, and they may surprise as a result. They have executed incredibly well in the past and have been very agile as a business too, but we'll have to see what that pivot on the other side looks like. So, yeah, and honestly, like the thing is, it's a transition. It is what it is. But if we're like 3 quarters later and we see, oh man, they are just killing it in terms of execution, they've transitioned well, and the stock's at 65, 70 bucks, but they've really improved since then. I don't mind adding more at a higher valuation. It's okay to wait and let things kind of play out and see how it's also fine to you do you, but to buy and hold. But what you said, Tevis, is very smart. To size according to your conviction, that your conviction is lesser than it was previously with HIMS, and so you're going to size it according to that conviction. That always makes sense. Yeah. That's like my biggest concern. I'm like, why are they not showing this? Why are they not talking about it? I even put it on X because I'm like, okay, I've looked through everything, but sometimes I miss things. Was this out there and I just missed it? No. And I think last quarter was the only quarter that they actually broke it out. Why would they break it out otherwise? But just to kind of show. And I was like, oh, great. Love this kind of transparency. It's awesome. And whenever a company hides what I deem is a key metric, I do not love that. So I'll hold my position. If my position was double where it was, Tevis, I would be downsizing it too, but I'll hold what I have.
Yeah, and exactly. And it's just a confidence thing. Like, can you sleep at night? I could probably own double the amount of SoFi I currently do, and still, like, I think that would be reaching the levels where I'm like, I don't know if I'm thinking about this too much. Like Josh, for example, he can go 100% in SoFi, and he can sleep perfectly easy at night. He's been doing it for years. When it was at $4 and when it's at $30, I think if I held the amount of HIMS that is currently what I hold in SoFi. Like if 20% of my portfolio was HIMS, I would not be sleeping easy at night. I'd be really nervous. And so it's like, okay, great. Well, what is my comfort level in HIMS? I know that it's a number under 20% for me. What about if I held 10% in HIMS? What is that in dollar value? Do I feel comfortable? Yes or no? And so it's just like, testing the waters to see where you're comfortable with. I can hold a stupid amount of money in some like degen stock if I really believe in it, because at the end of the day, if it goes to zero, I know that it's on my own doing, right? And that's the first thing I'll say is sizing based on conviction. I think it's a very big principle. I think the second thing I'll say is really understanding what the catalysts are for this business, because it's not operating in a vacuum. It's competing for my wallet share with everything else in the market. Like why would I have 7% in HIMS when I can have 7% in Nvidia?
Yeah.
I'm not saying I want to own 7% in Nvidia because I have other reasons for going into smaller market cap companies, but it's definitely a question. And trust me, I ask it all the time. What am I doing with my life? My portfolio? So I think all investors should be asking these questions of their stocks consistently, especially after they report earnings, to say, hey, we just got a whole batch of new information. Do I feel the same? Do I feel better? Do I feel worse? Yeah.
Quickly said. Ready for Q&A?
Ooh, what else do we have to talk about? We're at Q&A already?
Well, let me look. Send each other the list. Hymns. BMNR. Schwab. Airspace being shut down. Apple using Google Gemini next version for Siri, which is pretty cool. I mean, Google's doing very well.
We had something else, I think, but
Michael Burry.
Yeah, what fruit next time?
The government race and the predictions market's really interesting too, but that's I don't know that we will need to cover that. Oh, Berkshire Hathaway, that's what it was.
Oh, yeah, those guys, they have like almost $400 billion in cash now, man. What are they doing over there?
Yeah, I don't know. If you'll throw this up, we can look at the chart here. This is from Fiscal AI. Yeah, that's a lot of cash. I think that what's happening, my theory anyway, is not that they're bearish on the market and valuations in general. I think that this is more of a let's stock up some cash so that the next guy can have some agility. And they have a massive amount of cash, though. Was this the one that? Yeah, you can buy 95% of the companies in the S&P 500. So, like, you can buy more than 5 PayPals with the cash that you have there. That's just cash. So it's a massive amount. But yeah, that's my theory. What is your take, Tevis? Is this bearish? Is it Berkshire? Is Buffett just being cautious, or is this a transition?
I mean, I think, isn't it Warren's last quarter with Berkshire, or it's definitely his last year, I believe.
It's soon. I don't remember exactly when, but yeah.
Yeah. So if it is, in fact, his last quarter with Berkshire, then I would understand that. I think the salient point there, Roy, is the fact that they're not even buying back their own stock. So the underlying acknowledgement is that, hey, even Berkshire is overvalued right now, that we don't feel like buying it relative to cash, which is like insane. And like, I think the moment that Warren steps away from the business, you're going to have these lieutenants. I think it's like Greg and somebody else, Greg and Dave or something. Somebody in the chat will know. They're just going to go apeshit buying all of these companies, because while they keep the ethos, I think they have a longer time horizon. They're not 99 years old or whatever. So yeah, man, I don't know. I just think that God bless him, honestly, for staying true to his principles. Like I should only dream to be so disciplined. At the same time, though, I do think there is, like, just as I think there is an upper bound on being a politician, I do think there is an upper bound on being, an investor. Obviously, the bound is much higher, but at the same time, like, Warren is looking at it from like the classic Ben Graham valuation methodology, and that's fine, except for the fact that you had 1971, and then you had all of this money artificially pumping into this M2 supply exploding. You had so many things that skewed what a modern day valuation metric would be considered cheap versus expensive. And so I believe, I haven't done the analysis on this, but my gut would say that fewer and fewer and fewer companies every single year meet that standard of Ben Graham that he set out in like 1940, whatever.
Yeah.
So it just, maybe I'm wrong. But I just think that, like, Warren's going to be buying fewer and fewer and fewer stocks every single year until he's like 100% cash, because nothing meets that very strict criteria that is big enough for him to buy without completely moving the market on.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll see pretty soon too. I think it's kind of telling that it's stayed about the same amount of cash. One of my followers mentioned that too. It's if they've been bearish on the market, I mean, they've been wrong for, 4, almost 5 quarters now. So, and even back then we were talking about how big that cash pile was. So
yeah, exactly. Berkshire trades for 15 PE. How is that expensive?
Yeah.
I mean, ask Warren or ask Mr. Buffett.
You want to see an expensive stock, and I know we have some Q&A on this too, which we can.
Is it Palantir? Let's see.
No.
Oh.
This is actually not expensive at all. It is Meta. Meta, of course, had reported earnings, had this massive drop, really triple beat, fantastic numbers, but the algos didn't like it, and that sell-off actually just kind of continued. But you look at the valuation metrics here. Price to earnings is 27. Forward price to earnings is a little under 25, and price to sales doesn't matter nearly as much. And you look at it, like, no matter how it's sliced, like they are doing incredibly well as a business. I don't own them. I won't own them. Let's take away. Well, we won't take away bonds, but yeah. And even their shares outstanding is not too bad at all. So operating expense is higher. But if you guys remember when Meta fell precipitously and Brad Gerstner's like, hey, Zuck, you need to do something different rather than just shovel money into the metaverse. He listened. They slowed down the R&D. Now here, this is a little bit different tune because Zuck has talked about and said that he would rather waste or blow, I think, like $10 billion than be too late on this AI arms race. So there is, of course, an increased R&D, which shouldn't surprise anybody, given some of the contracts that they were handing out to some of the top AI scientists. But yeah, I'm not going to buy Meta. I don't want to hold Meta. But man, if I wasn't like anti-Meta, I would be buying this up all day long.
Holy, it fell that much?
Yeah.
Jeez, man. I haven't been
probably after hours, it's down even more, I would expect. And one of the reasons why I know this is because it's in my stock draft portfolio. So anything in there is going to get torched because I own it.
Wow. Look at that.
Yeah, 625. It is 625.
625.
Yeah, some people are asking why I wouldn't want to own them. It's just like a personal conviction thing where I think a lot of their product is parasitic in nature. Facebook, Instagram, especially that they target the way that they target young people. And I think it's damaging overall to society. So I wouldn't own them any more than I would own, an alcohol stock. I'm not saying people can't drink or shouldn't drink. I've just seen the damage it does in society. Shouldn't make it illegal, but I'm not going to invest my money in that.
Okay. You know what? The common consensus of the YouTube chat is going to resolve this for us, Roy. We are asking, and I'll put up the poll right now. Would you rather Meta at 625 or Amazon at 250?
Meta. Well,
really?
Yeah.
You were just talking about how it's overvalued.
Meta overvalued? No, it's undervalued.
Yeah. You said you wouldn't buy. I guess because you're.
Well, I'm not. I'm just. This is a hypothetical. I wouldn't own it. So, like, that's basically saying, would you like to have something that you hate or something that you kind of like? And I kind of like Amazon. I don't think Amazon is terrible here at all. But there's always companies, at least to me, that look like better opportunities. And over the short, and I think over the long term, Meta is probably better positioned. I'm not going to own it though.
I don't know if I would rather own Meta or Amazon, like which one I would pick in that poll. I do own Amazon. I don't know. Amazon also like pumped quite a bit, from 215 to 250. So there's also that. And and I guess Zuck is still at the helm and Jeff is kind of like quasi off-boarded, but
and as good as Amazon's earnings were, I mean, honestly, Meta's earnings were better. There's just a stock. It was not cheap. It wasn't like crazy expensive, but the algos just did not like that EPS blow. So
yeah. Okay, let us do Q&A. Q&A. Amazon is much more diversified. Austin Finds Alpha says, Google, if I had to pick from all of big tech, Nvidia dropping after hours. Oh my gosh, is Nvidia dropping? What is the world coming to? From 198 to 195.50. Everybody panic. Okay. Nvidia dropped $3 whole, guys. It's crashing.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's I mean, what you should really be paying attention to now is relative outperformance versus expectations, or you would think that the stocks with high beta are. If this sell-off continues and yet some of those stocks are not getting beaten up nearly as much, there's strength there. And so take a look.
Yeah, we need Donald Pump back in the office. When next BM&R video? At some point between now and next Monday. So probably towards the weekend because I don't have time at all. But at some point soon. I'm glad you guys like them. I appreciate that a lot. Trump tweet tonight. Yeah, let's see. Tevis, one's portfolio is very much like looking in the mirror to who they are as an investor. We are not them and they are not us. I'm sure longtime Berkshire holders are satisfied. Yeah, you know what? Longtime Berkshire holders also are, bro.
Rich.
They're fucking old, bro. They've been holding this shit for like 50 years. So I think like Buffett's underperformed for like the last decade. I mean, look, I obviously don't want to pick a fight with the entire Twitterverse because I'm talking ill of Buffett because, you know, whatever, he's a legend. But I'm just saying, like, there is flaws to any strategy, regardless of how amazing you guys think it is. All right, let's. That came out sounding really Canadian. All right, let's talk about the questions. Starting off with our favorite topic. Any thoughts on what's happening with PayPal? Roy, I checked PayPal today.
Yeah.
You know what other time period I could have bought PayPal at $66? 2022.
Yeah. But it's actually cheaper now, just because that market cap has been being destroyed by the buyback program. So it's actually its cheapest valuation, I believe, ever. If not, it's fairly close. It did trade, down nearly to $50. So, fact check me on that, but it's very close. I mean, they're fine as a business. They're doing well. I predicted several quarters ago, actually, that quarter four would be the quarter where we see perhaps the market perception on PayPal shifts, that it could be forehand, but most likely quarter four. Quarter three came out, really good, strong quarter. Initial pop, but I think that was more from the OpenAI partnership announcement than the actual results. Similar results to what we saw in quarter two, which the market did not like at all, despite it being a triple beat and far better than expectations. So I was like, well, I don't think quarter three is going to shift much. Quarter four, I think, will be that quarter, not where it's not going to do a jump up 20% in a single day. But what I think really will happen is that analysts will understand and get it. PayPal has to do some of that work themselves in terms of execution in quarter four, which they're doing, but also in terms of setting out that guidance and the expectations on the new products and projects, such as the advertising. So hopefully there will be more light shed in that area. There's an interview that is supposedly really interesting that got just a couple dozen views that somebody sent me with Dr. Mark Rather that I'll take a look at too. But yeah, and I think they're screaming value here. Now, the hard thing is, obviously, there are even more of that because the market has fallen. After hours, it's actually not down any, but I wouldn't read too much into that. But it sold off today, like a lot of payments names that are very much hated. And if the sell-off continues, PayPal can get cheaper, and it will. And so people will be like, ooh, PayPal, that's great. But the problem is, what if Meta gives up another $100? People are going to probably want to buy Meta. What if Palantir trades at $125? Tevis won't touch it because he doesn't like making money on Palantir. But Tanner, he's a smart guy where he realizes, hey, I did wrong. I like to sell and then buy it again higher. Tanner will buy Palantir at $125, maybe. I don't know.
He won't. Absolutely won't.
What I'm saying is, if the market falls, PayPal will get cheaper, but there will be a lot of screaming buys at that point. And I don't know that we'll see that. I expect that we probably won't. But so PayPal's solid. Nothing has really changed in the thesis. They continue to. Lastly, I guess on PayPal, if you use a word picture, massive ocean liner, cargo freighter is what PayPal is. Alex Chris took over, and I heard something interesting, which I don't think I have permission to repeat on why it was such a disaster in the later years of Dan Schulman. But yeah, he was very much asleep at the wheel, very much. Alex Chris came in and the company was in a way worse position than anybody expected. If you use that ocean liner thing, they were going to run aground. And so
Right.
we had to do this massive pivot in the entire business. And when you're an ocean liner, you do not pivot quickly. And so it's taken all this time to do the pivot, which they've done. And now you also have to start reaccelerating in the other direction. That's what they're beginning to do. That's what the last 2 quarters were. That's what quarter 4 will really show. And then they'll also chart the course in quarter 4 with the full year guidance, which should be quite robust from a number of factors here, which I won't go into too much. But this is Q&A, so I need to be quicker. Sorry.
I mean, that's the crazy thing is, right? Like when something is falling and it's very lucrative, everything else is also falling and is also lucrative and competing for your attention and dollars. And people were buying PayPal when the market was all-time highs and everything was at its highest ever valuation. And PayPal was still at like $70. And so it's like, well, now PayPal's at 66. Great. But yeah, to your point, like Meta shed $100. Like, I'll buy that instead. So I think the beautiful thing about 2022, well, the shitty thing about 2022 was that everything was down because it was like a recession. But the beautiful thing about 2022 was that you had a lot of time. You had a lot of time to accumulate. You had a lot of time to build in your positions. You had a lot of time to make decisions, to do your research. And the flip side of that, you know, over the course of the summer, let's say, or even the fall to some degree, everything was sky high, flying every single day. And you had FOMO, but you didn't have a lot of time. And so I think that like the cool thing about this crash is that everything is falling and you sort of have more time to like, oh, do I want to buy some Meta? Do I want to buy some, you know, Nebius is now 106 after hours. It's down another 4% after hours. Okay, cool. Nebius was like a 145 like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, that one I think got a little ahead of itself. They're doing a lot of things well too, but I mean, stocks will do that in a bull market that are doing well, including Palantir, including Shopify, down a good bit today despite pretty good earnings. It sounds like
it happens. Okay, let's move over to the next question. When do you see a turnaround in ETH and BMNR?
Within a week.
Actually, or are you just being cute?
No, I think that usually what happens with crypto is there's a capitulation event. If we may be very near that point, in which case you'll see it a lot lower, and then you'll see a nice rebound. Now, part of that too is regarding macro uncertainty related to the shutdown. I think Trump's attention is going to begin to shift from mostly focused on tariffs to mostly focused on shutdown. Not that he hasn't been. I think that a deal probably should be made, needs to be made. I mean, this is going to cause a lot of people pain otherwise. So I don't know that this is going to be drawn out that much longer. And so I think that we'll get the kind of like a little bit of hopium of like, hey, we're close to a deal, or we're sitting down, we're figuring things out, we're actually talking. And that'll probably be enough until there's an actual resolution of the shutdown.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I would say I'll take the over on that. And I'll say by the end of the calendar year, T-Nelly, is when I see a turnaround in ETH and in BMNR. There's a lot of unanswered questions right now that's causing uncertainty in the market, as Roy said. And once those are alleviated, I think it's going to require some time for things to stabilize and jump back higher. So I think by end of year, we should be higher. I mean, I wrote like the puts that I'm writing now are for middle of December. Like I wrote Nebius at the money puts today on margin for middle of December, because like I think by middle of December we'll have stabilized and we'll be higher than we are today. Yeah. And that's 45 days from now. So I do think it's going to take a little bit of time for these things to iron out.
And as far as macro, like consumers appear to be resilient in earnings calls for the most part. And I think that they will also appear to be, by every metric you look at, or most metrics you look at through the holiday season. Next year is when there's less certainty on that. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's contingent on the shutdown resolving. If it goes all the way through the end of the year, all bets are off. That's terrible for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Any activity on that mystery crypto account with 100% win ratio? I think he actually blew up his account, Carl.
Yes.
I don't know if you're still here, Carl, but I'm pretty sure the mystery whale just completely blew up his account. So hopefully it's not Barron, or we're gonna get a very
there it is.
I love how they put Barron's picture. Like, nobody knows that it's Barron, guys.
It's Barron. Come on. No, I'm just kidding. yeah, it's Barron every time, I guess. So,
dude, it's just so ruthless to put Barron there. Like, he doesn't even have a 100% win rate anymore. You think Barron would just blow up his account?
Well, and that's the thing about risk is you have to risk according to what you're actually comfortable with. Like, maybe for this person, they could afford to lose all 33 million or 45 million rather. Most of us, if you're taking on risk where if it goes wrong, you could be wiped out, maybe rethink that.
Yeah. I would love to one day reach a level of wealth where my gambling account, my gambling balance looks like my portfolio, where it's like, hey, 33 million, I can afford to lose that. No problem. Yeah. Let's see. Could we get a balance into end of next week? Roy thinks so.
Well, into end of week. This week might be a little too early. Next week, yeah. I mean, anything can happen, but yeah.
Did you watch the Canadian budget? No, Grundy, I didn't. I did see the Canadian dollar is getting fucked, though. It's like, I think it's like at its lowest point since the year 2000. Have you seen this, Roy?
No, but isn't that word pronounced bouger or something like that in Quebec? I'm just kidding. What's happening with the Canadian dollar?
Well, man, do I want to talk politics? I'm going to end up in the gulag. But
do 1 minute.
Okay, so basically, the Liberals won again in the spring because they went off of a campaign to fight Trump, and their entire platform is like spend like nobody's business because money is not real and who cares, and we're all going to die, and we're, it's just numbers on a screen type of thing. And so as a result of that, and because of their charitable spirit to give internationally to all kinds of different reasons, they basically were like, hey, we're not going to have a budget, and we're going to do the budget exercise later on in the year. And because the reason is because when they announce a budget, they're going to show a massive deficit because they just love to spend, and they're not willing to make the cuts that are necessary to balance the budget, or at least make it reasonably, in a deficit, not like insane deficit. But so now is around that time where like they have to present the budget, and it's so bad. I haven't seen it. I don't know if it's actually out yet or if it's coming out this week, but I know like it should be coming out this week. If anybody in the chat knows, let me know. But it's so bad that I saw the Canadian dollar is just nosediving because people don't have confidence in this country, I guess. So
that's not great. That sounds a little bit like the United States. Solution is shut it all down.
Well,
except that's really not.
They have shut it all down. I mean, our government was shut down for like 4 months. It was prorogued until like the spring. So you're literally just paying taxes and no decisions are being made. And the reason they shut it down was because they didn't want to get a snap election called. And they're probably going to get a snap election called right now because of the budget. When people see the budget and the massive deficit, you're going to get a vote of no confidence, and you're probably going to head to the election polls by Christmas. That's definitely one way that this could play out. So we could be in another election, 6 months into the last election.
That sounds not great. Sorry, man.
Hey, man. We'll see what happens. It's their world. I'm just a pawn living in it.
Yeah.
Tevis, are you bearish on HIMS? I am more bearish than I was in the summer, but I am not bearish. I am still holding HIMS. I want to reduce my position in HIMS, as I mentioned earlier, but I'm still holding.
And reduce doesn't mean he's out. He just sizing according to conviction.
Sizing according to conviction, yes. Can I get your thoughts on where PayPal and Meta go in the next 12 months? Just prices, Roy.
Boy, I'm not good at that. So take it with a grain of salt, but 12 months, bull market is still intact. Meta to maybe 900. PayPal, 12 months, so we'll be past Q4 into late next year. I think we could see maybe 130 for PayPal, which is a double.
Okay, 130 for PayPal. That is a bold statement, sir. We will hold you to that. Somebody clip that, and please give Roy his flowers when he is proven correct. Look at this. People are agreeing. 125 and 900, 130. Arun says 50, but we can ignore him.
Yeah. I mean, like if they're 50, then they bought back a ridiculous amount of their stock, and they're starting to do dividend, and they should have grown a good bit as well. It's just hard to see. Like the nice thing about PayPal is expectations are so freaking low, so it doesn't take a lot to show it, which frankly they've been doing, but they need to do a little bit more to capture market attention. I've seen signs of that and indications of this, and I think Q4 will do it. But it's not going to mean that it's going to jump up 20% overnight. I think we're just going to see a slow, steady climb. So,
Roy, what do you think Palantir is going to be trading 12 months from now?
Maybe 200.
It's at 200 right now.
Yep.
Okay, that's way more grounded than I. Anyways, I was gonna be like, oh, you're wrong, but anyways, it's very realistic.
Yeah, I mean, it could be lower than it is today too. I really thought that this year would be a year where it kind of slowed down, and maybe it went to like 130, 140, 150 at best.
Yeah.
When you do 63% revenue growth, you have an insane moat, insane margins. Like it's tough to value it, but at some point, like it's egregiously expensive. It's going to have to take a break, even as they have ridiculous earnings. And maybe this is the beginning of that trend. That's what I'm thinking, because we saw the market reaction yesterday. Ridiculous. Like, what company puts up better earnings this quarter than Palantir? Probably none. And they fell because it's priced beyond perfection. I didn't buy BMNR, no.
I bought it yesterday. I posted it on X, and I wrote cash secured puts this week. Can you start with, yeah, okay, we did that. Roy, are you getting back to Enphase? Let's take a look at where that's trading right now.
I am still trying to think through what I want to be exposed to as far as energy. If I had to pick today, it'd probably be natural gas, so maybe something like VG. But I don't know yet. I need to do more digging. We had a really good after hours. It's members only, but if you guys aren't a member, be sure to look at that. It was 2 times ago, maybe 3 times ago. And it's well worth seeing. Data-driven investing is in that field, and we had somebody else on there too that was also very knowledgeable, and it was helpful to me. Enphase, I think, is I mean, they're going to be around. They're still going to be good. Like they're okay. I thought that was Enphase price for a second. I was like, what? I know Enphase was in the 30s, but I'm like, okay, if it's trading $8, maybe I need to buy because they're not going out of business. Yeah, there's several other solar companies too that have more positioning, which in commercial, which I think will do better over the next couple of years. It's going to take a while. Probably it'll be sometime after midterms for solar to begin to heat up. Market is forward looking, so I haven't written Enphase off, but yeah, there's other things being considered there.
Bro, look at VG. That's insane.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know what I actually hadn't, looked at the price over the last 2 weeks, but boy, it's looking tasty.
Yeah, man. I'm thinking of like, holy, I want to just like take a loss on my neck.
I'm gonna buy 100 shares right now. It's the invest then investigate thing, guys. So it's not a serious position yet, but yeah, let me lock that in here. Okay, good. I can buy it. I don't think that this trades in the aftermarket either. So let me. All right, there we go. Order completed. So
on VG.
Yeah.
Look at you.
So enough to get my attention on it and take this time seriously to look in it. But yeah.
When is BMNR going to start staking their Ethereum? I think when they hit 5%.
Well, why would they wait?
Well, I mean, they haven't announced really a plan as to what they're going to do. So I'm assuming they're accumulating right now, and they're just going to stake it all when they hit 5%. Like, I would love for Tom to come out and be like, "Hey, this is our plan for staking, or what we plan, like how we plan to be accretive to shareholders."
Yeah. So that, and also when their quarterly meeting is, and they may not even have it live. It might just be like, boom, here's a presentation. That's fine, but we need to hear that, and we need to hear what the plan is for staking or when they'll make that decision. If they waste like 6 months, that's just foolish. So
I also think, like, right now he's in a stage where he needs to get the cheapest Ethereum that he possibly can, and anything that they do to like pump Ethereum's price is not going to be good for them because they're still in accumulation phase.
yeah.
And like 5% of the float is like a big amount, it's not nothing. Tom said this, Tevis, going back to BMNR and ETH, do you think the sell-off stemmed from the balancer hack on Monday? Ethereum-based decentralized finance protocol balancer lost more than 128 million. I think 128 million is kind of peanuts in the grand scheme of things, Tom. I haven't heard about the balancer hack, so I have zero context on this. I'm just going off of the number. But like, when you're looking at the entire ecosystem for something like Ethereum, I think 128 million is like nothing. Roy, any thought? Do you know about this?
I don't know anything about that. So
yeah. Sorry, Tom, I can't give you more, but that's just my raw thoughts. Do you know any HIMS news on peptide factor, home testing depth? Very curious on the rest, of course. Roy?
It's actually a really interesting product that they said that they would be announcing, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Tevis, in early next year. And that actually might be the first HIMS product that I end up using. We'll have to see what the price point looks like, but this is built off of the Tribe Labs acquisition. I think that this could be a really good thing for their flywheel, because people can, be tested, and then they'll come out with, here's where you're at, and here's our solutions for your product. And hey, you might want to also talk to a doctor about this. We don't do anything about this, but this is concerning. So it should be very, depending on the price point, and it's probably going to be very attractive. It might even be a loss leader, by the way. I think it's going to be a compelling addition, which, given what they're doing as far as marketing to try to acquire customers, like they can offer it as a loss leader, get it out there, get people to try it out, test it out, and then be like, oh, you guys have this product that's offering, especially as they build up that flywheel more. Like estrogen, testosterone are big products. So, but yeah, that's all I know on it. And that's one of those things why I think it's more of a next year story. So,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's still a lot that HIMS can do for their growth roadmap ahead. I just need to know more context, basically, because like, we were all like, well, HIMS does have an event coming up next Thursday. I don't know, Roy, if you knew that, but Andrew Dudham posted about it, and they're going to be they're sort of hush hush, essentially. So we'll take a look at that. Maybe they announce something around peptides or at-home testing, because as we know, at-home testing went live, and it's obviously going to be something that's massive for their ecosystem flywheel.
Yeah.
When is the shutdown going to end, Roy?
Probably a couple of weeks, but I think that there will be talks. Well, okay, I think there's really two scenarios. One is, which they've made this attempt before. I don't think it's going to happen. Basically, it's a half measure where it's like, hey, can we at least continue to pay essential services while you guys aren't willing to come to the table? And unequivocally, that's been a no. Somebody mentioned, and I have not looked into this, but that there is a UPS plane crash. I've seen a lot of videos, and I have friends also that are flying, and that talk about how like messed up this is right now to like even fly, and then talking about airspace being shut down. So that may change the equation, plus half benefits on Snap. I mean, it's not good, and people are in pain. So in a more ideal world, they'd be like, okay, while we figure things out, let's go ahead and at least keep those essential functions afloat. I am skeptical on that happening. So I think more likely than not, Trump is going to take things serious. He's a negotiator, but he uses both the carrot and the stick. And I think he'll do both to probably end the shutdown within 2 weeks, would be my guess. I think it has to come before Thanksgiving. If not, we're looking at all the way through the end of the year, which is going to be an unmitigated disaster for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. How many planes need to fall out of the sky before they start paying the air traffic controllers?
I hope that that's not related to it, but it might be, and that's just so sad.
It's crazy, dude. It's crazy. Like the duality of the world that we live in baffles me on a daily basis. The fact that we can have such eye-watering technology, like from AI, robotics, and what's happening in healthcare and whatnot, and then we can be so ass backwards in so many other ways. It's just crazy, man. The world we live in is insane.
Mm-hmm.
It's a daily reality TV show, sir. When do we see Hims partnering with Novo again? Never.
I think that's a nothing burger, honestly. So, I mean, could we see it? Sure. I'm not counting on it, but if it is, like, especially with what they're talking about, the price point for GLP-1s through the United States, that potential agreement with them, Eli Lilly, and the United States government, we're not looking at a very high margin thing. So, all that would really signal is no lawsuit risk, which is still part of a bear case, but I don't know that's the biggest bear case right now. What do you think?
I just don't think it's going to happen, quite frankly. Like, I think there's perverse incentives there. Obviously, Hims wants to make the most margins and they want to capture the most total addressable market share that they can with their product. And Novo wants to do the same. And so it's just not something that's going to work. And then you add this other layer, which is the government, trying to price fix essentially a much lower, which hurts both of them. It does hurt Hims and it hurts Novo. And so it's just like, I don't think it's going to happen. I think he said it to pump the stock, which is the thing that leaves a bad taste in my mouth, especially if you read that like very legalese heavy phrasing. They were like, hey, we're in talks. The subject of our talks we can or we can't disclose depending on what we feel like. Don't expect a deal, but you could expect a deal. Like something could happen, but something could also not happen. It's like, oh my gosh, man, like just why even include that we're in talks?
It's to pump the stock. Yeah.
Exactly. Would your net worth ever merit aristocrat dividend portfolio? Why? I can just sell options.
Yeah. Not too interested.
Like, okay. I mean, what would merit a dividend portfolio? Like 5 million?
Well, so I'm not near retirement, and what I do is one of those type of jobs where you keep doing it in some capacity really until you're like 75 or 80, because it's a dream job. I love it, and you get better with age. But that said, we're on our retirement goals, and maybe I'll sing a different tune like in 20 years when I'm like wanting to work less and not concerned about income or anything, and our retirement's exactly where it needs to be. It'll be for sure more conservative. You don't want to risk it all like the guy that got blown up betting on crypto. Just takes one time, and then all of a sudden you're working for McDonald's until you're
Barron, you mean?
Yeah, probably Barron. So like there's some merit to that, but I don't know. Like that's so far away. I've not really even given that much thought of what that would look like. When we get closer to time, I'll be more conservative. I'll probably be less conservative than the average person in my position, but yeah. I don't hate dividends. Like, hey, Tevis, I own 2 dividend stocks now.
Nvidia and PayPal.
That's right.
How did I know that?
And if shareholders get their way, every stock in my portfolio will one day be a dividend stock, because that's the top question almost always.
Yeah, Kelly, this is rage bait. So rage bait is a post that is supposed to incite rage for engagement. It's a form of engagement farming. Nobody in their right mind would pay $15,000 an hour for Antonio. Like, anyways, it's rage bait. It's rage bait.
I'll just say that I have the guy muted, and I'll leave it at that.
What was I going to say? I totally forgot. See, the rage bait caught me.
Dividend.
Oh, yes. I remember what I was going to say. Speaking of blowing up your entire portfolio on crypto, Roy, let's take a look at our favorite game, the LLM Arena. All of these LLMs that we looked at a couple weeks ago, they reached a peak. DeepSeek reached a peak, that's rhymes, of $23,000, up from $10,000 in about a week. DeepSeek reached a peak in a week of $23,000, and now they're all eating, eating poorly.
What's the one on the top?
It's Qwen 3 Max. I think it's another Chinese one. Surprisingly, these two ones that we've never heard about have done better than the tried and true GPT-5.
Better than Gemini.
Well, I mean, Sam was like, hey, you can sell your stock. I'm sure there's a willing buyer. It's like, dude, good thing I'm not using this for investing. I'm not using it for medical advice or legal advice now, and I'm not using it for investing anymore either. So thanks. Anyways, let's see what else we got here, Roy. He has a whole Shopify page too. Yeah, like that's fine. If somebody takes, like, I will create a joke for $15,000 to book an hour with me, and if somebody's stupid enough to take me up on it, thanks for the $15,000. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it doesn't cost much or time or effort to open up a Shopify page. Beautiful full moon tonight. I'll check it out after, Sadi Raj. The website is called nof1.ai. I'll post it in the chat for you. Speck in the dark. Okay, so next question is, how would a potential recession impact SoFi's stock price and overall valuation? Please reference 2022, sir, when SoFi fell from $20 to $4.
Yeah, and recession is a little bit different, but when your prime business is taken away completely, like this, a recession, unless we're talking about a 2008 recession, which I don't think so, would be less detrimental to the company than what they went through already. So with Noto at the helm, they're always positioned pretty conservatively too, so they'll be fine. We might see below 20 for sure, maybe mid-teens, depending on how bad the recession is, but long term, they're fine.
Yeah. I think the business has proven that they're resilient in a high interest rate environment, in a low interest rate environment, when lending was the predominant source of revenue, when financial services is the predominant source of revenue. Like, the versatility of the business is one of the value propositions for why I would buy that over something like, an Upstart or something else. Speaking of, is Fiserv a falling knife?
Well, let's look. Did we talk about that last? No, I think they had earnings after we.
They had earnings. Holy shoot!
Yeah.
Let me.
Yeah, do you know all of what happened?
No, I don't know anything about what happened.
Okay. Yeah, this is. This is their kitchen seat moment. So basically, they had a CEO that exited, and there were a few things that were, that were known to not be great in the company. But the biggest red flag, by the way, let me pull them up on Visual Stocks too and share a couple of things, because this will spend maybe a few minutes on Fiserv right there, and let me mark it in the, so if someone's watching it later, 7. Fiserv. Okay. Go ahead and throw this up, please, if you don't mind.
Oh, sorry. I got to pull my thing down. Stop sharing the screen.
All right. So Fiserv had a horrendous earnings. It was actually the worst earnings that I've seen this year, probably. Maybe some in the early year that I'm forgetting about. I'm not in Fiserv, thankfully. It's one of those that a lot of people, if you look at it year to date, it hadn't gone anywhere. Payments has been kind of a tough space for a while. And so there were some, including some noted PayPal bears, that were like, you guys are idiots for wanting PayPal. Fiserv is where it's at. And honestly, some of their arguments made sense. Overall, I was like, no, I think this is dumb, but I don't think Fiserv is bad. And then they came out with those earnings. Now, largely what happened, my goodness, is a reset on a number of measures. Some of the measures that they're doing as a business, the new CEO is like, this is not going to work, and we need to pivot away from this. He also reset guidance. This is a kitchen sink earnings, and it's not uncommon when a new CEO comes in and says, you know what, this is my opportunity. Usually that's when the first or second quarter, we're going to reset everything, including guidance. Now the guidance is incredibly conservative. PE ratio is okay-ish. If you look at where they're growing, though, revenue 1%, profits growth negative 59%, 3-year profits growth negative 31%. What they've been doing mostly, Tevis, is this right here, doing buybacks. Do you know how they've been funding the buybacks, though, Tevis?
How?
Here's their cash and debt.
They've been raising debt to buy back their own stock?
Kind of. Now, they do have, if we look at free cash flow, let's remove operating free cash flow and just look at this. They do have free cash flow. It's lumpy like PayPal. You can see it's just kind of the way it is. They could technically afford their buybacks, kind of, mostly, but they're also doing other things too. A lot of this debt came from an acquisition, and they just chose to go the debt route. And they're like, hey, no problem. We can refinance this later at cheap rates. Well, the problem is they accumulated this debt. It's cheap debt. Now, I've not pulled up their 10Q, which would actually show when these when the debt structure needs to be re-upped. But this is concerning.
I would want to see what the servicing is on that debt and when it matures. Like, because I think that's something that is definitely cause for concern. Like, what do they have to pay for that debt?
Yeah, my concern would be, like, prior to this earnings, I'm like, this will probably be okay. I never liked this game of, like, essentially doing more buybacks than they actually can afford through free cash flow and being okay with accumulating debt. That's not the only reason why they're in debt, but I mean, look at that. That's $29 billion in debt. Yep. And their revenue, like, the problem is their revenue is flat and their actual profits are decreasing. Now, I think that they could continue to be a falling knife for a while. And the thing is, they don't look attractive. I mean, like, even here, like, oh yeah, 28 PE, that's great. Forward PE is a 3. That's 3. That can't be right. I'll have to double check. But yeah, having no revenue growth, like, that's not nearly good enough. Now, price to sales is, I don't know. It's not necessarily not a buy, but I would let this have time to play out personally. And maybe I'll be a Fiserv owner in like a year. We'll have to see how they execute with the new CEO and everything. Probably not, though, because I have so much fintech. But I think it's going to be similar to PayPal. PayPal, when Alex Chris came in, second quarter is there, kitchen sink earnings, reset expectations. But that was in 2024, in early 2024. Look where we're at right now. It takes a long time with these legacy businesses to really pivot, especially with a business structure the way Fiserv is. And unlike PayPal, they're in a tough position and spot because they have a colossal amount of debt on their books. And so I don't know. I would personally just be on the sidelines. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, it's I mean, this thing was trading for $240 in March. They did like a reverse 5x.
Yeah.
So that's wild to me. I don't know if I would buy that. I don't know anything about the business, but just they've stair-stepped downwards on like 4 of their last earnings.
Yeah.
So anyways, can somebody make BM&R go up? Yes, Donald Trump or Tom Lee can make BM&R go up for you. Anybody else, right? I definitely
just us two.
Yeah, exactly. Can somebody explain what TJ the Wheel deal in this afternoon was about? He wrote options on BM&R, and he was explaining the process basically of like running the wheel on BM&R. And I think I was only there for a short period of time during my lunch break, but yeah, he was writing them at like $50, knowing that he was going to roll, which to me, I thought that was like very risky. Like, why would you? It's funny, man, because like, you know that expression, once you know the rules, you can break the rules. When I was watching TJ do this and he was like, oh, I'm definitely going to end up rolling this. I'm like, okay, but like, don't you tell people not to premium chase? Aren't you doing the exact same thing? But he's way more talented at actually rolling those positions than I am. So he obviously knows what he's doing. Mm-hmm. But definitely watch the video. It's very educational. Thoughts on ETH? Fundamentals are strong. Yeah, I mean, we spoke about Ethereum quite a bit throughout the stream. As a new investor to Hood, would you buy right now or before earnings tomorrow? While you do that, Roy, I will be right back.
Yeah. So if you look at my channel, Tech Bros Weekly used to be called Robinhood Weekly. Since you're a new Hood investor, if you've not watched that, I recommend it. Amit, Tanner, and I will discuss a lot of stuff, but it usually begins with Robinhood. Since earnings, we put earnings predictions there. Earnings will be really good. The problem with Robinhood earnings are, well, they don't do guidance, and part of the reason why they don't do guidance is they put out all their monthly numbers, so all but like 5 days worth of trading volume. There are things that you don't know going in, such as predictions, market margin, the new acquisitions, and so forth. It's an insane, amazing, wonderful, ridiculously strong company. Very cyclical too. Myself, like if I was just starting out position in Robinhood, I would just DCA, not worry about too much the stock price, and get the position sizing where you want. So if you're not DCA'd yet, maybe do a little DCA. If you have, then call it good. Wait for earnings. And honestly, Hood has shown a propensity to sell off on fantastic earnings, especially when it's run up a good bit, and it has been. So I wouldn't be surprised with pretty phenomenal earnings and also a pretty decent pullback, maybe a 10% pullback if we're in this kind of environment tomorrow. So yeah, not financial advice, but yeah, that's my thoughts.
NASDAQ futures minus, it's 0.74%. I thought you said 7.4%. I was like, what?
Yeah. A little bit less.
That's still not great. Hood is not going to come to Canada, Samir. I'm sorry to be the one to break the news to you. I'm also heartbroken about it, but too much regulation here, too little profit.
They will, though. They have a little acquisition that gets their foothold in. And for crypto, and I don't know how your country is on tokenization, but if that could be an easier inroads there. Also, maybe predictions market, we'll see. But yeah, no, they're coming to Canada eventually. Just Bangladesh first, I think, Myanmar, and then Canada. North Korea might be first though, before those. Sorry, buddy.
Moving on. Is the AI bubble finally exploded? Alex Lopez says.
I don't like the term bubble there, but no, not at all.
TBD. Too early to tell, Alex. So stay tuned. Do you both think we get a Santa Claus rally this year? Yes.
Probably. Yeah. Right now, it sure doesn't feel like it, though, does it? I pulled up the after hours stuff. Boy, it's bloody out there.
Yeah. It's funny because we were talking about the Trump and President Xi trade deal news, and we're like, oh wow, you're gonna get the market's gonna tank if they don't come to a deal, and the uncertainty, and they came to a deal and the market still tanked right after. You're like, god damn it, this is so stupid. The market's just gonna find a reason to tank,
Yeah.
Brock donated $10 to the both of us. Thank you, Brock, so much. We appreciate you. Thoughts on Axon, other than the fact that it fell a lot? We've both been on stream, so I don't think either of us have seen any of the numbers from Axon. Roy, you don't have
anything? Yeah, no, I've not seen anything other than just the headlines, so I don't really know. I think it's a really good company, a very strong company, but I've not dug in, so sorry.
Do you guys see the ClickHouse acquisition news? ClickHouse acquisition.
I looked that up when I saw the comment. ClickHouse is owned in part by Nebius, which is why he's asking bullish Nebius. So it looks like that's accretive to ClickHouse, but I don't know. I don't really understand.
ClickHouse acquires Libre Chat to democratize AI-driven analytics through open source agentic data stack. This is the most buzzwordy statement I've ever read in my life.
I think we're overusing democratize now. I wonder, if you could go back in time and tell the founding fathers of America, hey, we're going to start democratizing everything, 250 years. Yeah, I think they would not like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Leading open source AI chat platform. I guarantee you they overpaid for this, man.
Maybe, yeah.
But no, this is the first time I'm reading it. I haven't, whoever asked that question, Phil, I haven't read about it before the stream. I will right after the stream, though. ClickHouse leverages agentic analytics internally with LibreChat and ClickHouse powered Dwayne, an agent that now handles approximately 70% of data warehouse queries for over 200 users, which is not a lot, but they're businesses, I guess, processing 33 million LLM tokens daily as of October 2025, up from 50 million just months ago. Cool. Yeah, if you guys have thoughts on it, just throw it in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to take a look when I get off of this stream. Let's take a look here.
I saw a question.
When is retail going to wake up and start covering app? Is this app 11?
Yeah, app 11. I wouldn't say I'm covering it, but I've talked about it for probably the last year and a half, just not often regular. I haven't done any videos on it at all, but I've done it on X. It's a really good, strong company that retail has slept on and continued to. I don't know when that changes. Like, it took a long time to, even with Robinhood, you see some questions and everything. But when I was in Robinhood, there was like 5 of us out of all of retail that talked about it positively. So it can take a long time. They are a very strong company, positioned very well with the shifts in the model of the internet to continue to capture and drive a lot of value towards advertisement and advertising. So, and by the way, I saw some questions on Zeta too. Looks like really good earnings for Zeta. Like, they beat. That's what they do. I think that they're a good company. I don't know if they're a great one. I would say App 11 is probably a great company.
Really? Yeah, I don't cover App 11. At the same time, though, like, I don't know, maybe it's a bias against mobile. I think the zeitgeist of the market is over-indexed on AI, under-indexed on mobile. Because, like, you had waves, right? You had mobile, and then you had cloud, and then you have AI now. And so mobile could be seen as not as forward-looking as one might initially want in their investment.
I think that's fair and unfair at the same time.
The yield curve uninverted since September 2024. Do you see a recession soon?
If the shutdown doesn't end, yes, I think it probably will. And so I don't think that we'll have a recession. Anything can change it, but until maybe 2029, as a lot of the disruption in the labor market plays out. There's always a chance. We'll have to see. I think there is some lower end consumer weakness too. So, yeah.
Yeah. We're crashing, everybody. NVIDIA 194, Tesla 436. Oh my gosh. Levels never before seen since last week.
Even PayPal is down. I'm just kidding.
The Meta one is interesting. But yeah, exactly. This is spot on. It's crazy how one single day changes everything and everyone's mood. And you mofos are far too emotional. I know you guys want to think of yourselves as long-term investors, but if you're like, oh my God, NVIDIA 195, it's crashing. It's like, dude, touch grass, just you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
Yeah. And like, if you guys are happy with your positions too, and you're not really itching to buy something, there's no harm in just saying, you know what, I'm not going to check my app more than like once, or not even maybe once. Like, if it's
exactly. Like
I think that was unintentional today, just because I was super busy. But tomorrow I have more time, especially in the morning. And like, I'll check in the morning, but in after open. But yeah,
the penance for people who complain that NVIDIA is down $5 after hours is passing a law to force them to hold PayPal for one whole year, so that at the end of that time period, they understand the value of patience. I think the world would be a better place.
Yeah, PayPal has done a good job of keeping me humble. So thank you,
PayPal. Yeah, I told Kelly to buy Bitcoin when it was like, what, Kelly, like 20,000, 30,000. And I don't know if she did or not. I think she didn't. But hey, I thought about buying some Bitcoin today along with some Ethereum. But too bad I'm going broke. So
I bought some Ethereum last week. I didn't buy any this week. The VG buy was the first thing that I bought. and I have a well. That's not true though. I have a DCA on Bitcoin. It's a small amount. It's a set amount of my income, and it just that's the thing I love about that type of investing is it's not based on emotion. It's there and it's persistent to the extent where I sometimes forget about it and like, oh, I didn't buy anything. Well, no, it's my buys are on. I think it's either Sunday evening or Monday morning, but whenever it is, doesn't matter. So
there you go, Iceberg. I'm getting paid tomorrow. Thinking of buying more BMNR. I want to buy ETH. Don't have a crypto account. Signed up for the SoFi waitlist. Nice. You're gonna get it soon. I'm just upset my boys didn't hold their Rocket Lab puts, got paper handed when they said it was going to 54. Yeah, Rocket Lab is what? Like, let me see for you. Rocket Lab is $55 after hours. Yeah, Kelly says, I was so close. Do you remember I was just going to buy a whole coin and be done with it? Rip. Rip. Yeah, my roommate told me about Bitcoin in 2010. Don't feel too bad, Kelly. Oh, man. Okay. Roy, Ron, shall we wrap there?
Yep, sounds good, man.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Go sign up for the waitlist of Alpha Ledger. Link is pinned. And I don't know, Roy, if you won't have anything to shill. But we will see you next week on Bootleg Weekly. And check out either of our channel. I don't know, man. I'm fucking bad at this. Thanks, everybody. See you. Bye now.